Chapter 113. The Zijin Imperial Palace was the true core of the Zijin Imperial City. At this moment, in a coiling dragon hall in the violet gold Imperial Palace, there was singing and dancing. Numerous women wearing tulle dresses, their bodies faintly discernible, were slowly twisting their hot and delicate bodies along with the melodious music, outlining an extremely seductive scene. Crown Prince Jianglu, who was wearing a dark golden dragon robe, was sitting in the main seat of the hall with a smile on his face. He was entertaining the experts of the Shen Tu family clan and the Shangguan family clan, thanking them for helping him eliminate the dissidents and stabilizing the situation. Crown Prince, how do you plan to deal with the Yi family's remnants? Sitting on the first seat on the right, the Shen Tu family clan's patriarch, Shen Tu Shuzhou, who had a pair of sword-like eyebrows and an aquiline nose, asked after drinking a mouthful of fragrant wine. Senior Shuzhou, are you interested in them? Although Jianglu was about to ascend to the throne, the Shen Tu family clan was an ancient martial arts family clan. They were powerful and had a close relationship with the Heavenly Fire sect. He did not dare to offend them, so he asked politely. Yes, I want to use their lives to force Yi Chunfeng to appear and get rid of him. Thinking of Yi Chunfeng's amazing cultivation talent, Shen Tu Shuzhou felt uneasy. If he could not get rid of Yi Chunfeng as soon as possible, Shen Tu Shuzhou felt that Yi Chunfeng would become his inner demon. All right, when I ascend to the throne, I will hand the Yi family's remnants over to you. Jianglu agreed happily. Come, let's drink. If you want to find me, why go through so much trouble? Just as Shen Tu Shuzhou finished his cup of wine and was thinking of how to force Yi Chunfeng to appear by using the Yi family's members' lives, a thunder-like voice resounded in the lively hall. Yi Chunfeng was like an invincible god of war. With heavy steps, he slowly walked into the hall. Yi Chunfeng. When Shen Tu Shuzhou saw Yi Chunfeng appear in public, a black dove phantom image appeared around him. He leaped up from his seat with a long sword in hand. Like a stormy sea, he attacked Yi Chunfeng in a bid to quickly capture him. Ice Seal. When the murderous Shen Tu Shuzhou approached Yi Chunfeng, a bone-chilling cold air suddenly gushed out from Yi Chunfeng's body, instantly freezing the Grade 5 earthly beast General Shen Tu Shuzhou. In the next moment, a suffocating force erupted from Yi Chunfeng's body. A punch with a force of over 50,000 kilograms struck Shen Tu Shuzhou, who had turned into an ice sculpture. The punch shattered Shen Tu Shuzhou's body, killing him on the spot. Shen Tu Shuzhou could be said to be the strongest person present. He was even stronger than the Shangguan clan's clan master, Shangguan Feijing. Witnessing him being frozen and killed instantly by Yi Chunfeng, everyone present was dumbfounded. Especially Jianglu, who was so scared that his whole body started to tremble. The patriarch is dead. Seeing the scene of Shen Tu Shuzhou's death, the Shen Tu family clan experts were afraid. They wanted to quickly leave this troublesome place. When they rushed to the door of the hall, they found that a powerful formation seal had sealed the door, making it impossible for them to leave. Yi Chunfeng, what are you trying to do? Are you trying to kill us all? A Shen Tu family clan elder braced himself and warned, My Shen Tu family clan has a close relationship with the Heavenly Fire sect. If you dare to harm us, the Heavenly Fire sect will definitely avenge us. Chi. Just as the Shen Tu family clan elder finished speaking, a sharp sword beam shot out from Yi Chunfeng's body. Like a bolt of lightning, it struck his body and split him into two. He died tragically on the spot. Young Master Yi, my Shangguan family clan has no grudges with you. We have no intention of being your enemy. I wonder if you can let us go. If you are willing to let us go, my Shangguan family clan is willing to worship you forever. Seeing Yi Chunfeng's ruthless methods, Shangguan Feijing's heart turned cold. He restrained his killing intent and made a promise in front of everyone, praying that Yi Chunfeng would let them go. If I let you go, you will immediately inform the Heavenly Fire sect, right? Yi Chunfeng said coldly as he saw through Shangguan Feijing's intentions. We wouldn't dare. We can swear to keep it a secret. Having his secret exposed by Yi Chunfeng, Shangguan Feijing's body trembled as he hurriedly said, Sorry, I only believe in dead people. Yi Chunfeng's pupils constricted as a terrifying sword aura shot out from his body once again. It gathered into a shocking sword beam that slashed down from midair, breaking through Shangguan Feijing's defense and killing him. Seeing the strongest Shinto Shuzhou and Shangguan Feijing being killed by Yi Chunfeng, Ying Jianglu was scared out of his wits. His legs trembled as he nearly lost his footing. Ying Jianglu, why are you trembling? Are you very cold? Yi Chunfeng looked at Ying Jianglu, who was trembling and breaking out in cold sweat, and said sarcastically, Senior Yi, I know my wrongs. I'm willing to give up the throne, please spare my life. Ying Jianglu stuttered as he spoke. Towards the end, the previously arrogant him knelt on the ground. Ying Jianglu, for the sake of your own selfish desires, you massacred your comrades and indiscriminately massacred the innocent. I truly cannot find a reason to spare you. Seeing Ying Jianglu kneeling on the ground like a dog, Yi Chunfeng said without the slightest trace of emotion, Senior Yi, please give me a chance to turn over a new leaf. I promise to turn over a new leaf and turn over a new leaf. Ying Jianglu kept kowtowing and begging for mercy, begging Yi Chunfeng to spare him. In your next life. Facing Ying Jianglu's begging, Yi Chunfeng was unmoved. He struck his head with his palm, ending his evil life. After killing Ying Jianglu, Yi Chunfeng continued to slaughter the experts of the Shin Tu family clan and Shangguan family clan. In an instant, blood dyed the grand hall red. The thick stench of blood made people vomit. Seeing the corpses lying in a pool of blood, the officials in the grand hall kept quiet out of fear. However, Yi Chunfeng did not attack these mortals. He asked Shui Piaoling to forcefully erase their soul memories. Sister Piaoling, let's go to the heavenly prison. After Shui Piaoling erased everyone's soul memories, Yi Chunfeng left the grand hall and arrived at the heavenly prison. With Shui Piaoling's help, she tore open a huge hole in the impenetrable heavenly prison, releasing the second prince, Yi Qingchuan, Ji Yanjing and company. To avoid exposing his identity, Yi Chunfeng did not appear. After Yi Qingchuan and company regained their freedom, he quietly left the chaotic palace with Shui Piaoling and met up with Ji Qingshu and Bai Xia, who were waiting outside the palace. Sister Piaoling, thank you for helping me. If not for you, I might have killed a lot of innocent people tonight. Yi Chunfeng said gratefully from the bottom of his heart. Qingfeng, the path of cultivation is like cutting through waves. It is bound to kill a lot of people. However, you were able to protect your heart when you killed people. It shows how strong your Tao heart is. However, what happened tonight will definitely alarm the Heavenly Fire sect. Why don't you follow me back to the Ethereal Mountain to prevent any accidents? Shui Piaoling said. Ethereal Mountain, the only top 6th grade sect in the Northern Spirit region. Yi Chunfeng knew about the various large sects in the Northern Spirit region. He knew that the number 1 sect in the Northern Spirit region was the Ethereal Mountain. There were several Defiant Beast King experts presiding over the sect. With your talent, it will be easy for you to become an inner sect disciple in the Ethereal Mountain. Your cultivation speed will definitely be better than in the Heavenly Fire sect. After seeing Yi Chunfeng's amazing talent and strong Tao heart, Shui Piaoling also started to appreciate his talent. If there is a chance, I will definitely go to the Ethereal Mountain. However, now is not the time. For the sake of the true spirit realm that was about to open, Yi Chunfeng tactfully rejected Shui Piaoling. If that is the case, then take care of yourself. It is best if you don't show yourself for a while in order to avoid being found out by the Heavenly Fire sect. This amulet is for you. It can help you block a fatal attack from the Xian Beast sect's expert once. Shui Piaoling did not force Yi Chunfeng. He gave him a very precious amulet. Chunfeng, I'm sorry. Please forgive my original ignorance and rudeness. As they were about to part, Ji Qingxue reluctantly looked at Yi Chunfeng and said guiltily, "Let bygones be bygones. You and Xia follow Sister Piaoling and cultivate well. If there is a chance, I will go to the ethereal mountain to visit you," Yi Chunfeng said with a faint smile. "Qingfeng, Qingxue and I will wait for you at the ethereal mountain. You must come." Bai Xia looked at Yi Chunfeng affectionately and tried her best to hide her inner feelings. "I will definitely go." Yi Chunfeng nodded and promised. "Okay, it is almost dawn. We have to go. Cultivate well and try to impress me with your 2 favors." Chapter 114. Cold Lake, Crane Shadow, Cool Breeze, Autumn Water. In the southwest of the Zijin Kingdom, there was a mountain range with steep terrain. There was a quiet and deep lake. This lake was called the Serene Cloud Lake. Because there were many strong spirit beasts in the lake, there were very few people around the Serene Cloud Lake. At this moment, on the surface of the silvery white lake, a young man in a white robe with a pair of dark eyes that were filled with determination was practicing his sword in the water. This young man practicing his sword was none other than Yi Chunfeng, who had secretly left the chaotic Zijin Imperial City and decided to cultivate in seclusion. Swish! A silver sword light flickered with cold light under the sun. The sharp sword presence broke through the water surface and left a sword mark that was dozens of meters long. I finally have some comprehension. If this situation continues, I think I will be able to comprehend the second heaven of sword presence very soon. Yi Chunfeng was at the shore of the Serene Cloud Lake, studying the sword presence manual that Xue Piao Ling gave him while practicing his sword in the lake. As his comprehension of the sword presence manual deepened, the power of his sword presence also increased. Buzz, another 2 days later, Yi Chunfeng's body suddenly vibrated with a loud sword sound. A powerful sword presence gushed out from his body and rushed into the clouds. The powerful sword presence dispersed the clouds in the sky and slashed into the Serene Cloud Lake. A sword mark that was more than 100 meters long was left on the surface of the Serene Cloud Lake. The terrifying sword presence didn't dissipate for a long time, scaring the spirit beasts in the Serene Cloud Lake and causing them to flee in panic. I have finally cultivated the second heaven of sword presence. Feeling the surge of sword presence in his body, Yi Chunfeng revealed a faint smile. Although he wasn't sure if he had the ability to fight with a Grade 1 Heaven Beast Immortal, he knew that his attack power was enough to kill a Grade 6 Earth Beast General. After cultivating the second heaven of sword presence, Yi Chunfeng didn't continue comprehending the sword presence. Instead, he took out the Qiankuan bag from the dim radiant sect and controlled the God-Eater brain to break the restriction in the bag. He released his soul force and permeated it. 13,000 low-grade soul crystals, 280 mid-grade soul crystals, 67 stalks of heaven and earth spirit herbs, 2 mid-grade spirit artifacts, and 3 low-grade spirit artifacts. This is a spirit-grade soul pill. Yi Chunfeng looked through the items left behind by the dim radiant sect. He discovered an embroidered box sealed with inscriptions. When he broke open the inscriptions on the box, he discovered a milky white pill that gave off a dense fragrance. Yi Chunfeng controlled the soul-devouring brain to scan the white soul pill. The grade of the pill immediately appeared in his mind, making him overjoyed. As expected of the Sky Fire Sect's Yin-Yang Hall Guardian, there's actually a spirit-grade soul elixir in his Qiankuan bag. I wonder if this spirit-level soul pellet can help me break through to the 4th grade Earth Beast General Realm. Yi Chunfeng adjusted his breathing by the Serene Cloud Lake for a while, adjusting his body to its peak state. Then, he swallowed the spirit-level soul pellet and circulated the soul-devouring art to quickly refine and absorb it to increase his strength. Just as Yi Chunfeng was bitterly cultivating by the Serene Cloud Lake to increase his strength, he received news of the dim radiant sect's death. The Sky Fire sect fell into a great shock. 3 Yin-Yang Hall elders rode their firewing windbirds to Zijin Imperial City to investigate the cause of the dim radiant sect's death. The chaotic Z-Gene Imperial City became jittery because of the arrival of the 3 Yin-Yang Hall elders. As Shui Piaoling had deliberately left many traces of her attacks, the 3 Yin-Yang Hall elders were deeply shocked. After their thorough investigation, they concluded that the person who killed the Dim Radiance sect, the Jiang family, the Shin Tu family clan, and the Shangguan family clan was an important figure that even the Sky Fire sect could not afford to offend. His strength was at least that of a 4th-grade mystic beast sect. Why did the Dim Radiance sect's Jiang Zhongxiong and company offend such an important figure and suffer such a calamity became an unsolvable mystery. As for Yi Chenfeng, because his strength was too low, he was never suspected by anyone. Sensing the seriousness of the situation, the 3 Yin-Yang Hall elders did not dare to stay in the Z-Gene kingdom for long, nor did they dare to investigate the matter in depth. They left with the news that was enough to shock the Skyfire sect. Without the interference of the Skyfire sect, the Z-Gene kingdom gradually regained its order. Under the support of the Yi family, Ji family, Wen family, and by family, the second prince, who had survived the calamity, gradually gained control of the situation. After the old emperor passed away, he ascended the throne as he wished. Time passed day by day, and the day of the Sky Fire Martial House's examination was getting closer. In order to obtain good results on the examination day, the disciples of the Sky Fire Martial House cultivated with all their might. In the depths of the Purple Cloud Mountains, under a thunderous waterfall, a tall, bare-chested youth stood under the waterfall like a steel spear. He used his flesh and blood to withstand the impact of the waterfall, tempering his physical strength. An explosive roar came out of his mouth. The muscles all over his body suddenly burst out with an astonishing strength, as if he was an ancient demon beast that had just awoken. With a stomp of his foot, he cracked the hard boulder under his feet. Like a meteorite, he rushed up the waterfall that was flowing down. Limitless scattered hands. The youth relied on his astonishing strength to rush to the center of the waterfall. Both of his hands quickly twisted, and a large palm imprint filled with destructive power heavily bombarded the waterfall that was like a silver dragon. With one palm, the powerful waterfall was cut in half. The huge water flow was like a fairy scattering flowers, scattering in all directions. I've finally cultivated the limitless scattered hands to the 8th realm. Landing on the cracked boulder, the youth revealed a satisfied smile. He muttered to himself, I don't know if I can defeat Fu Yue with my current strength, and strive for first place in the Sky Fire Martial House's examination. The youth who was practicing his palm under the waterfall was Lin Fu Xin, ranked 2nd on the Sky Fire Martial ranking. The limitless scattered hands he cultivated was one of the top 3 spirit rank soul skills in the Sky Fire Martial House. He was able to cultivate the limitless scattered hands to the 8th realm in a short year. It was enough to show that his talent was extraordinary. The Black Mountain sect was a first-ranked sect in the North Snow region. The sect had 3 rank 5 Earth Beast generals. Relying on the strength of the 3 sect masters, the Black Mountain sect bullied men and women and did all kinds of evil deed. They had become a big tumor in the Black Mountain region. In order to eradicate the Black Mountain sect, many large families had offered generous reward. But a year had passed, and not only had the Black Mountain sect not been eradicated, but their power had grown stronger. Chi! A silver-white blade slashed down from the sky. A tall woman in tight black clothes, with long black hair casually draped over her shoulders, and an expressionless face, appeared alone outside the Black Mountain sect. She slashed her saber across the air and split the Black Mountain sect, which was more than 10 meters tall and impregnable, in half, shocking the entire Black Mountain sect. If Yi Chenfeng was here, he would recognize this woman in black at a glance. She was the woman in black who had shocked him greatly in the gravity cave. Her identity was recognized as the number 1 person in the Sky Fire Martial House. She was Fu Yue, who had cultivated the top spirit rank soul skill to the 9th realm. Another one who isn't afraid of death has come. Hearing the commotion, hundreds of Black Mountain Sect experts rushed out of the Black Mountain Sect and surrounded the cold and elegant Fu Yue. Little beauty, I think you're tired of living. How dare you come to my Black Mountain Sect alone to make trouble? But if you can serve us three brothers well, maybe we'll be in a good mood and… The great sect leader of the Black Mountain Sect looked at Fu Yue's delicate face, hot body, and sexy legs unscrupulously. However, before he could finish his sentence, a sharp blade slashed at him at a speed that was difficult to see with the naked eye. What a fast blade! A silver light flashed in front of the Black Mountain Sect's great sect leader, and the last thought flashed through his mind. His body was cut in half, and he fell into a pool of blood and died. After killing the Black Mountain Sect's strongest great sect leader with a single slash, Fu Yue continued to slash with her blade. Streaks of blade light that seemed to tear the void apart quickly fell into the crowd. Every time the blade fell, more than 10 people would die. The ground was crisscrossed by the terrifying blade light. In less than the time it took to burn a stick of incense, the first-rank Black Mountain Sect that dominated the Black Mountain region was annihilated. None of the 813 people in the sect were spared. The entire Black Mountain Sect became a purgatory on Earth. You can't even withstand a single blow. Chapter 115. Annihilation Sword Art, Flowing Cloud Pierce. Yi Chunfeng smoothly thrust out his sword. A flowing cloud sword shadow pierced through layers of air and split open the secluded surface of the quiet cloud lake, directly penetrating to the shore 1,000 meters away. Wind Shadow Slash. The 1,000-meter-long sword mark in the serene cloud lake had yet to dissipate when Yi Chunfeng leaped into the air. A peerless sword ray like a wind blade tore through the sky and slashed into the bottomless serene cloud lake. A huge hole was cleaved in the center of the quiet cloud lake. The sword ray was filled with 2 layers of sword force, preventing the surging lake water from converging. There was still half a month before the Heavenly Fire Martial House's examination. Yi Chunfeng cultivated his 3 great soul skills during the day and refined a spirit-level soul pill at night. He had raised his cultivation to the peak of a Class 3 Earth Beast General and gradually grasped the first 2 forms of the Annihilation Sword Art. However, the third form of the Annihilation Sword Art, Instant Kill, was too difficult to cultivate and the requirements were too harsh. With Yi Chunfeng's current strength, he was unable to grasp it. Roar! Just as Yi Chunfeng continued to cultivate his 3 great soul skills, an extremely powerful roar came out from the quiet cloud lake filled with powerful sword force. Hidden Cloud Lake was the absolute overlord. A level 3 golden-armored snake turtle, the size of a small mountain, with a snake tail and the strength of a level 6 Earth Beast General, could no longer bear the harassment and emerged from Hidden Cloud Lake. In fact, this gold-armored snake turtle had already sensed Yi Chunfeng's existence. It was only because it felt an intense sense of danger from Yi Chunfeng that it didn't show up. However, Yi Chunfeng's sword strike had directly penetrated the quiet cloud lake and struck its hard shell. This had completely enraged it, causing it to make up its mind to chase Yi Chunfeng away. You're finally willing to come out and spar with me. Yi Chunfeng looked at the golden-armored snake tortoise that emerged from quiet cloud lake and roared furiously at him. He revealed a faint smile. His figure flashed slightly as he stepped on the rippling lake and took the initiative to attack the golden-armored snake tortoise. Cloud-breaking palm. The tip of Yi Chunfeng's foot lightly touched the rippling surface of the lake. His entire body soared into the sky like a large bird spreading its wings. In the next moment, the shadow of a blood egg appeared behind Yi Chunfeng, greatly increasing his soul power. Yi Chunfeng's palm shot down. The wind and clouds throbbed and the water rippled. Yi Chunfeng's entire body strength was condensed in this palm. It carried a strong sense of oppression. His palm imprinted on the hard shell of the golden-shelled snake turtle. Boom! A series of earth-shattering explosions resounded on the huge shell of the golden-armored snake turtle. The formidable power shook the hill-like body of the golden-armored snake turtle, and its huge body sank down by 3 inches. Aolo, the tortoise shell, suffered a heavy blow, which completely enraged the golden-armored snake turtle. A terrifying shockwave was released from its mouth, which shattered the layers of air and bombarded Yi Chunfeng, who was falling towards the surface of the serene cloud lake. Apparition shifting. Facing the sonic attack released by the golden-armored snake turtle, Yi Chunfeng suddenly took a deep breath. 3 afterimages appeared behind him, which instantly increased his speed by 3 times. In the process of falling, he made a series of unimaginable dodges. He continuously dodged the sonic attack and landed on the surface of the lake. This golden-armored snake turtle is really terrifying. Yi Chunfeng did not receive a direct attack from the golden-armored snake turtle, but the blood and qi in his body were still violently tumbling. Beast Soul Armor. Feeling the terror of the golden-armored snake turtle, Yi Chunfeng did not dare to be careless. For the first time, he controlled the blood egg to condense a soul armor to protect his whole body. However, the blood egg was limited by its level. The condensed soul armor's defensive power was not high, and the soul power defense had become Yi Chunfeng's only weakness at the moment. Yi Chunfeng took a deep breath and suppressed the surging blood and qi in his body. He took out the coiling dragon heavy sword and performed the apparition shifting. He left an afterimage on the violently tumbling lake and approached the gigantic golden-armored snake turtle. Compared to the golden-armored snake turtle, Yi Chunfeng's body was much smaller. But when Yi Chunfeng performed the second layer of the sword aura, the terrifying sword aura made the golden-armored snake turtle smell a strong sense of danger. Killing sword art, flowing cloud pierce. The sword aura gushing out of Yi Chunfeng's body quickly condensed into a flowing cloud sword shadow that was full of killing power. It made an ear-piercing sound as it pierced towards the golden-armored snake turtle's head. Feeling the terror of Yi Chunfeng's sword, the golden-armored snake turtle's pillar-like forelimbs fiercely slapped on the surface of the lake. It stirred up a series of water pillars, trying to shatter the flowing cloud pierce. But the flowing cloud pierce was full of powerful sword aura. It pierced through the water pillars with irresistible force and pierced the neck of the golden-armored snake turtle at a speed that was difficult to be seen by the naked eye. Suddenly, a large amount of blood gushed out like a fountain. The golden-armored snake turtle roared in pain, and the entire serene cloud lake violently tumbled. "It's gone crazy." Looking at the golden-armored snake turtle, whose eyes had turned blood red, and whose terrifying aura was erupting like a volcano, Yi Chunfeng did not retreat. Instead, the battle intent in his body became stronger and stronger. Rumble! A large area of lake water exploded. The furious golden-armored snake turtle opened its bloody mouth and shot a series of powerful spirit lights at Yi Chunfeng, bombarding his body. Killing sword art. Facing the attack of a large number of spirit lights, Yi Chunfeng raised his strength to the limit. He held the coiling dragon épée in his hand and met the attack head-on. He continuously stabbed with the flowing cloud pierce, shattering the spirit lights that were full of destructive power. The spirit lights that it spat out could not do anything to Yi Chunfeng. The golden-armored snake turtle's thick forelimbs fiercely slapped on the lake surface. Its huge body suddenly rotated and released an endless amount of golden light. It was like a huge, spinning top, twisting the air and attacking Yi Chunfeng. Killing sword art wind shadow slash. Yi Chunfeng's pupils shrank. The endless sword aura was integrated into the coiling dragon épée. With a slash, a wind shadow sword light that was dozens of meters long cut through the sky and slashed on the hard shell of the golden-armored snake turtle. Rumble! A powerful force exploded on the golden-armored snake turtle's shell. It was like a stormy sea, forcibly blocking the golden-armored snake turtle, making it unable to move forward. Collapsing cloud palm. Seeing that the golden-armored snake turtle had relied on its innate strength to break the wind shadow sword light, Yi Chunfeng suddenly stomped on the violently fluctuating lake surface and flew into the sky. He threw out a powerful palm strike towards the golden-armored snake turtle. Boom! The collapsing cloud palm fiercely bombarded the golden-armored snake turtle's shell. The powerful force forcibly smashed the huge body of the golden-armored snake turtle into the violently tumbling quiet cloud lake. The lake's surface within a 1-mile radius was affected by the collapsing cloud palm. It collapsed and formed a vacuum area. After being continuously attacked by Yi Chunfeng's killing moves, the golden-armored snake turtle started to bleed profusely. Its internal organs were also damaged. In the end, the overlord of the quiet cloud lake, the golden-armored snake turtle, was terrified of Yi Chunfeng's terrifying attack power. It did not dare to fight with him again. It quickly sank to the bottom of the lake and did not dare to come out again. After the golden-armored snake turtle escaped, Yi Chunfeng stepped on the surface of the lake and appeared on the shore. He sat cross-legged on a rock that was as smooth as a mirror. Combining the insights he had gained from the battle with the golden-armored snake turtle, he took out the sword aura handwritten scroll given to him by Piao Shui and continued to comprehend. As his comprehension of sword aura became deeper and deeper, his attack power became stronger and stronger. There were only 3 days left until the Sky Fire Martial House's entrance exam. It's time to go back. Chapter 116. Early in the morning, the melodious sound of a bell came from the Sky Fire Martial House. It spread to every corner of the Martial House, causing the originally quiet Sky Fire Martial House to become lively. A large number of Martial House disciples were filled with excitement as they poured into the arena. They occupied the best spots and waited for the Martial House's final assessment to begin. In order to increase the intensity of the Martial House's assessment, the Sky Fire Martial House had stipulated that only the top 30 disciples were qualified to participate in the final assessment. Among the top 30 disciples, only the top 3 could represent the Sky Fire Martial House to enter the true spirit realm and compete with the disciples of the 3 major sects and 2 major martial houses for great opportunities. The competition was intense. Look, it's senior brother Shintu Kuang and senior brother Shangguan Yuan Tong. What a powerful aura! No wonder they are the top 3 contenders. As more and more disciples gathered in the stands, a tall and sturdy Shintu Kuang wearing black training clothes walked into the arena with a gloomy expression. His eyes flashed with an ominous glint. This is my only chance. I must get into the top 3 of the Sky Fire Martial House and enter the true spirit realm to seek my own opportunities. Otherwise, everything is over. Shintu Kuang clenched his fists tightly and swore in his heart. Ever since they learned that the Shintu family clan and Shangguan family clan had been annihilated by a mysterious expert in the Purple Gold Palace, Shintu Kuang and Shangguan Yuan Tong's personalities had changed greatly. They had become even more gloomy and terrifying. If they were unable to get into the top 3 and enter the true spirit realm, without the support of their families, it would be extremely difficult for them to become a Sky Fire Martial House disciple. Therefore, this assessment was their only chance. Senior brother Lin Fuxin is here. What a powerful pressure! It seems that the person who can shake senior sister Fu Yuyue's throne is none other than senior brother Lin. Just as the disciples were discussing who was stronger between Shintu Kuang and Shangguan Yuan Tong, a man who was stronger than Shintu Kuang and had a more terrifying aura appeared. He gave off an unruly feeling. This man was Lin Fuxin, who had broken the waterfall with one palm and occupied the second place of the Sky Fire Martial House for many years. Lin Fuxin walked with heavy steps to the arena. He was not affected by the heated atmosphere. He sat on the cold ground and silently adjusted his breathing, waiting for the battle to begin. What a strong killing intent. Lin Fuxin had just adjusted her breathing for half a minute when a strong murderous intent appeared in the arena. Feeling this strong murderous intent, Lin Fuxin immediately opened her eyes and saw Fu Yue, who was wearing a tight black outfit and had a hot figure and an expressionless face, appear. How did Fu Yue become so strong? In order to defeat Fu Yue, Lin Fuxin had been cultivating bitterly for the past year. She had cultivated the limitless Sanzhou to the 8th level and was only one step away from mastery. However, when he felt the murderous intent emanating from Fu Yue's body, the confidence in his heart was shaken. He felt that Fu Yue was a lethal weapon that no one dared to make an enemy out of. As expected of a genius who single-handedly annihilated a first-ranked sect. Judging from the murderous aura emanating from Fu Yue's body, I'm afraid that more than 1,000 people have died at his hands. Elder Liu, who was sitting in the main spectator stand, saw Fu Yue enter the battle arena and instantly become the center of attention. He could not help but sigh with emotion. To complete the 1,000 slaughter, this Fu Yue is definitely the #1 genius in our Sky Fire Martial House. There is no doubt that she will be #1 in the final assessment. Deputy Mansion Master Hua Lingfeng praised. That might not be the case. Perhaps there is someone who can shake Fu Yue's #1 position in the final assessment. Qian Daobai, who had been silent all this while, whispered as he cast his deep gaze into the distance. Mansion Master, the variable you are talking about is Yi Chunfeng, right? Elder Liu knew that Qian Daobai had high hopes for Yi Chunfeng, so he followed up. That's right. That Yi Chunfeng is the biggest variable in the final assessment. I just don't know if he can make it back in time. Qian Daobai nodded and whispered. For some reason, Qian Daobai had a feeling that the death of the Dark Radiant sect, the annihilation of the Shin Tu family clan, Shangguan family clan, and the Jiang family had something to do with Yi Chunfeng. Lingfeng, this year's final assessment will be presided over by you. Qian Daobai sighed softly in his heart when he saw that the top 30 disciples of the Sky Fire Martial Roll, other than Yi Chunfeng, had all arrived. All right. Hua Lingfeng nodded and slowly stood up. He cleared his throat and said in a deep voice, "Everyone, quiet down. This assessment will be the same as before. There will be 3 groups. Every match will be a direct elimination system. The opponents will be decided by the elders' drawing of lots. Only the disciples who win every match will be able to stand out from their groups and enter the finals. As for the top 3, our Sky Fire Martial House has prepared generous rewards for them. They will be 3 different quality spirit-ranked soul elixirs. Other than the spirit-ranked soul elixirs, the top 3 of the Sky Fire Martial House can also represent our Sky Fire Martial House and enter the true spirit mystic realm to seek out great opportunities and supreme inheritances. Alright, I now announce that the Sky Fire Martial House's final assessment has begun. As the competition began, the entire arena's atmosphere became unprecedentedly lively. Disciples of the Martial House were looking forward to the intense competition that was about to begin. In order to increase the fairness of the competition, the top 3 of the Sky Fire Martial ranking were seeded contestants of the 3 group. The remaining contestants were divided into 3 groups by drawing lot. After drawing lots, Yi Chunfeng was divided into 3 groups. He was in the same group as Shintu Kuang and Shangguan Yuantong. His first opponent was Shangguan Qi, who was ranked 6th on the Sky Fire Martial ranking. He was also recognized as the 3rd strongest in this group. Knowing that they were in the same group as Yi Chunfeng, Shintu Kuang and Shangguan Yuantong's faces became extremely ugly. Fortunately, Yi Chunfeng had not appeared yet. If he still did not appear when it was his turn, he would be eliminated. First round, Shangguan Yuantong against Zhou Lingqing, Feng Yunxue against Huang Kongming, Lin Kezhu against Wu Runyu. After the drawing of lots, Hua Lingfeng immediately announced the 2 contestants. However, Shangguan Yuantong, Feng Yunxue and Lin Kezhu were all in the top 10 of the Sky Fire Martial ranking. Their strengths were far superior to their opponent. Therefore, there was no suspense in the first round. When the match began, Lin Kezhu, who was wearing red armor and had a hot figure, held a fire crystal saber in her hand. She completely suppressed her opponent. Fire Shadow Saber Mountain. Her attack completely suppressed Wu Ruinyu. Lin Keju's body exploded with a powerful force. The terrifying saber light turned into a saber mountain. With one saber strike, Wu Ruinyu was sent flying out of the stage and lost the match. Lin Keju defeated her opponent with absolute strength. Shangguan Yuantong was stronger than her. Feng Yunxue had also finished her battle early and obtained an overwhelming advantage. Second round, Fang Shanxue against Li Jiqing, Lin Fuxin against Wu Guanyun, Shangguan Qi against Yi Qinfeng. Hearing Yi Qinfeng's name, the disciples in the stands looked for traces of him. However, they discovered that Yi Qinfeng, the most famous person in the Sky Fire Martial House last year, had not appeared. Discussions immediately broke out. Yi Qinfeng, it's already so late. Why aren't you back yet? Could it be that you're in trouble? Qian Daobai's brows were tightly knitted together. He began to worry for Yi Qinfeng. On the other hand, Shintu Kuang and Shangguan Yuantong revealed faint smiles. Without Yi Qinfeng, one of them would definitely stand out in the third group and obtain the qualification to enter the True Spirit Secret Realm. Fire Martial House Lord, that Yi Qinfeng still doesn't dare to appear. Can we disqualify him? Shangguan Qi, who was holding a 9-foot 9-inch long spear, asked with a mocking expression. Martial House Lord, what do you think? Huo Lingfeng looked at Qian Daobai, who was frowning, and asked for his opinion. Treat everyone equally. We can't wait endlessly. Announce it. Qian Daobai sighed softly. Chapter 117. What a fast speed! Just as Qian Daobai finished his words, an ear-piercing sound suddenly rang out. In the next moment, an afterimage that was too fast for the eyes to take in swept across the sky and smashed onto the stage like a meteorite. It forcefully cracked the hard stage and caused Shangguan Qi's blood to churn as he couldn't help but take 3 steps back. My apologies, Martial Manor Lord. I am late. Yi Qinfeng looked at Shangguan Qi, whose expression was extremely ugly, and his voice was like thunder. His powerful aura made Qian Daobai's eyes light up. Grade 3 Earth Beast General. This Yi Qinfeng has broken through to a Grade 3 Earth Beast General in just a year. After sensing Yi Qinfeng's strength, Qian Daobai revealed a look of deep surprise. Although he had high expectations for Yi Qinfeng, he realized that he had still underestimated Yi Qinfeng after seeing his true strength. At this moment, the noisy spectator stand turned quiet as pairs of astonished gazes were directed at the tall and straight figure of Yi Qinfeng, who was emitting a sharp aura. The discussions and doubts that were directed at him earlier had all disappeared. Just the sharp aura that was emitted from Yi Qinfeng's body had conquered all the disciples of the martial house. Yi Qinfeng. Lin Fuxin, who was waiting for the match to start, glanced at Yi Qinfeng, who had a steady aura, and sensed a strong sense of danger from him. Even the aloof Fu Yue, who was below the stage, took another glance at Yi Qinfeng. Yi Qinfeng, I can't help but admire your luck. You actually managed to rush back at the last moment. Due to the difference in strength, Shangguan Qi didn't sense Yi Qinfeng's true strength. He held his spear with one hand and pointed it at Yi Qinfeng. He said in a provocative tone, but even if you rush back, it is useless. You are destined to be the loser. Ignorant. Yi Qinfeng looked at Shangguan Qi, who was pointing the spear at him, without any change in expression. Let the match begin. Looking at the 6 people who were at daggers drawn, Huo Lingfeng smiled and announced loudly. Yi Qinfeng let out a loud roar, and a rhinoceros phantom appeared on his body. He suddenly stomped his right foot, and the arm that was holding the long spear tightly emitted an endless amount of soul light. He thrust the spear out, and it brought along a sharp edge as it directly pierced towards Yi Qinfeng's chest. Black Serpent Spiral. The moment the long spear pierced forward, Yi Qinfeng's palm suddenly shook. The tip of the spear spat out a spear light that was like a revolving black snake, shrouding Yi Chunfeng's body, making it impossible for him to defend himself. Black Snake Transformation. Senior brother Shangguan actually cultivated the high-grade spirit rank soul skill, Black Snake Spear Art, to the large success stage. As expected of an expert ranked 6th on the Heavenly Fire Martial ranking. Looking at Shangguan Qi's soul skill, Yi Chunfeng stood still. Seeing that the black snake-like spear light was about to pierce his chest, Yi Chunfeng raised 2 fingers at lightning speed and stabbed the black snake-like spear light. Qi. The spear light condensed by the high-grade spirit skill, Black Snake Spear Art, was pierced by Yi Chunfeng's fingers, which were filled with close to 50,000 kilograms of strength. Immediately after, his 2 fingers clamped down on the spear tip, causing it to be unable to move forward. A strong rebounding force formed on the surface of the long spear, shaking Shangguan Qi's arm until it went numb, and he almost couldn't hold the long spear in his hand. Witnessing the scene before them, the entire arena was in an uproar. So strong, this Yi Chunfeng's strength is indeed as strong as the legends say. Using 2 fingers to break the large success stage Black Snake Spear Art, is this something a human can do? Just as the disciples were shocked by Yi Chunfeng's astonishing strength, a terrifying power erupted from Yi Chunfeng's body, and he blasted a punch towards Shangguan Qi, who had turned pale with fright. Yi Chunfeng's punch seemed simple and unadorned, but it gave Shangguan Qi a suffocating feeling. Beast Soul Armor. Feeling the terror of Yi Chunfeng's punch, Shangguan Qi hurriedly condensed a soul armor to protect his body. He placed the trembling long spear horizontally in front of his chest to block Yi Chunfeng's punch. Bang! Yi Chunfeng's punch, which was filled with 50,000 kilograms of strength, landed on the long spear shaft. Together with the spear shaft, it ruthlessly smashed into Shangguan Qi's chest, shattering the soul armor condensed by his spiritual beast, the rhinoceros. The punch sent him flying out of the arena, leaving behind a cloud of blood in midair. Strong, too strong. Shangguan Qi, who is ranked 6th on the Heavenly Fire Martial roll, was actually defeated by Yi Chunfeng with a single punch. Witnessing the scene before them, the ring-shaped spectator stand became noisy. They had never expected such an outcome. Yi Chunfeng, you are not bad. I hope you won't lose to Shintu Kuang. That way, I can fight to my heart's content with you. After defeating her opponent with an overwhelming advantage, Lin Fuxin looked at Yi Chunfeng with high fighting spirit and transmitted her voice to him. As you wish. Yi Chunfeng looked at Lin Fuxin, whose eyes were filled with fighting spirit but had no ill intentions, and replied with a voice transmission. Under the awe-inspiring gazes, he leaped down from the arena. Yi Chunfeng. Looking at Yi Chunfeng's back, Fu Yue, who had a hot figure and a charming appearance, but was emitting a strong killing intent, similarly had a strong fighting spirit in her deep eyes. Good, very good. It seems that Yi Chunfeng has had a fortuitous encounter in this past year. He is indeed a person with great luck. Qian Daobai was very satisfied with Yi Chunfeng's performance and nodded as he spoke. After the second round of the competition ended, the third round of the competition immediately began. The results of the competition were not unexpected. Shintu Kuang and the others obtained an overwhelming victory over their respective opponents. Senior Sister Fu Yue is going on stage. I can finally see Senior Sister Fu in action. I heard that the most difficult mission in the mission tower was taken by Senior Sister Fu. In just 3 days, Senior Sister Fu completed the mission and killed 3 level 5 Earth Beast generals of the Black Mountain sect. When the fourth round of the competition began, Fu Yue, who was dressed in tight black clothes and had a hot figure, with an overflowing killing intent, lightly tapped her toes and crossed a distance of tens of meters to land on the arena. It's her. So she is Fu Yue. Yi Chunfeng finally knew who the woman he had met in the gravity cave was when he heard the words of adoration in his ears. I admit defeat. Just as the disciples were waiting for Fu Yue to make her move, the martial house disciple she was fighting could not withstand the killing intent emitted from her body. He bit his lips and admitted defeat on the spot. Fu Yue glanced at the pale martial house disciple with beads of sweat on his forehead. She shook her head and leaped down from the spectator's stand. She returned to her seat and continued to meditate with her eyes closed. The competition continued intensely. The elimination rounds in the morning quickly passed. After the morning competition, 15 disciples were eliminated. The remaining disciples rested for the afternoon competition. As the seeded contestants in the third group were too strong, with Qian Daobai's approval, Fu Yue, Lin Fuxin and Shintu Kuang were given a bye in the second round. Yi Chunfeng and the rest of the 12 would draw lots for the afternoon competition. After the lots were drawn, Yi Chunfeng's opponent in the second round was a youth named Ling Tong. He was a level 1 Earth Beast General, and was ranked 13th on the Heavenly Flame martial roll. Qingfeng, do your best. Lin Kezhu came to Yi Chunfeng's side and softly cheered him on. You too. Chapter 118. Yi Chunfeng, your attack power is very strong, but my defense is not weak either. If you want to beat me, I'm afraid you'll have to show me some of your true abilities. Commander Ling, who was holding a high-grade spirit tool dark gold staff, looked at Yi Chunfeng with high spirits as he spoke in a deep voice. His aura was calm and steady. Then I'll have to experience your defensive abilities. Yi Chunfeng replied indifferently, his face neither happy nor sad. Wind Dance Staff Formation. When the match started, Ling Tong, who knew that his strength was far inferior to Yi Chunfeng's, quickly waved the staff in his hand. A large number of staff shadows shot out, interweaving into an impenetrable staff formation with astonishing defensive power. This Wind Dance Staff Formation is worthy of being the Sky Fire Martial House's #1 defensive soul skill. Its defensive power is too terrifying. Seeing Ling Tong surrounded by countless staff shadows, the disciples in the stands began to discuss spiritedly. They were all looking forward to seeing how Yi Chunfeng would break through the Wind Dance Staff Formation and defeat Ling Tong. Blood Serpent Seal. Looking at the impenetrable Wind Dance Staff Formation, Yi Chunfeng's hands quickly twisted. Rolling strength and soul power quickly condensed into a small blood serpent, carrying a strong bloody light as it rushed towards Ling Tong. Blood Serpent Seal. Senior brother Yi actually used the mid-grade spirit skill Blood Serpent Seal to attack the Wind Dance Staff Formation. Doesn't he know that the Wind Dance Staff Formation is the Sky Fire Martial House's #1 defensive soul skill? How can a mere mid-grade spirit skill contend against it? Witnessing the scene of Yi Chunfeng using the Blood Serpent Seal to attack, the martial house disciples who were watching this match began to discuss amongst themselves. Even several martial house elders shook their heads. They all felt that Yi Chunfeng was a little too arrogant. Yi Chunfeng, you dare to humiliate me. Ling Tong's face sank, his eyes spewing flames of anger. He increased the power of the Wind Dance Staff Formation, wanting to destroy Yi Chunfeng's Blood Serpent Seal, and give him a warning. Just when everyone thought that Yi Chunfeng's move would fail, Yi Chunfeng's Blood Serpent Seal landed on the Wind Dance Rod Array. In the next moment, a deafening cracking sound came from the staff formation. The Wind Dance Staff Formation could not withstand the Blood Serpent Seal's attack at all. A large number of staff images were shattered and destroyed by the Blood Serpent Seal's attack. The attack landed on Ling Tong's body. Pooh! Ling Tong raised his head and spat out a mouthful of blood. Like a kite with a broken string, his body drew an arc in the air and fell out of the arena. He lost the match. How could this be? When did the Blood Serpent Seal's attack power become so terrifying? Witnessing the scene of Yi Chunfeng using the Blood Serpent Seal, breaking through the Wind Dance Staff Array, and defeating Ling Tong, the martial house disciples in the stands widened their eyes and mouths in disbelief. It could be said that what had just happened was completely beyond the scope of their understanding. Martial House Master, did Yi Chunfeng use the Blood Serpent Seal just now? Vice Martial House Master Hua Lingfeng asked in puzzlement. Without a doubt, it's the blood serpent seal. However, Yi Chunfeng modified the blood serpent seal and infused his own power into it, thus increasing its attack power and breaking the wind dance staff formation in one fell swoop. Qian Daobai, who had seen a lot, said, "Infusing his own strength into the blood serpent seal? How much strength does he need to increase the blood serpent seal's power to such an extent?" Huo Lingfeng sucked in a breath of cold air and said in shock, "At least 100,000 jin, otherwise the blood serpent seal would not be able to break through the wind dance staff array." Gan Daobai said, 100,000 jin of strength. Could it be that Yi Chunfeng has the blood of a divine beast flowing in his body? Huo Lingfeng and the others guessed in shock. This was because an ordinary third-grade beast general had a strength of 40,000 jin, which was already very frightening. However, Yi Chunfeng's physical strength was more than twice that of an ordinary third-grade beast general. Alright, let's stop guessing Yi Chunfeng's secret. Let's continue watching the competition. No matter how much Yi Chunfeng grows in the future, he will always be a disciple of our Sky Fire Martial House. Gan Daobai said proudly. Yi Chunfeng defeated Ling Tong in one move. Shangguan Yuantong also easily defeated his opponent and entered the final group round-robin stage. As for the disciples who entered the final round-robin stage, there was no suspense. Other than the 6th-ranked Shangguan Qi, who was defeated by Yi Chunfeng in one punch, the other 9 people successfully advanced. After drawing lots, Yi Chunfeng was lucky enough to draw a bye, allowing Shintu Kuang and Shangguan Yuantong to compete first. Seeing the results of the draw, Shintu Kuang and Shangguan Yuantong's faces turned extremely ugly. Obviously, they did not want Yi Chunfeng to step on their shoulders and enter the final round to obtain the qualification to enter the true spirit realm. After the 1-hour break, the competition continued. I admit defeat. When Shintu Kuang and Shangguan Yuantong jumped onto the stage, Shangguan Yuantong took a deep breath and admitted defeat in front of everyone, causing an uproar. Thank you, Brother Yuantong. I promise that as long as I enter the Skyfire sect, I will find a way to get you in. Shintu Kuang looked at Shangguan Yuantong, who was clenching his fists with a gloomy expression, and promised. I hope you remember your promise. Shangguan Yuantong nodded and said, Despicable, they are colluding. Lin Kazhu said indignantly, feeling injustice for Yi Chunfeng. Losers are destined to be losers. No matter how they scheme, they will not be able to change their fate of failure. Yi Chunfeng didn't mind. He slowly stood up and leaped into the air. Like a sharp sword, he leaped onto the stage. The second match was between Yi Chunfeng and Shangguan Yuantong. Seeing Yi Chunfeng jump onto the stage, Shintu Kuang looked at him coldly and turned to leave. Shintu Kuang, where are you going? At this moment, Yi Chunfeng suddenly called out to him and asked in a low voice, What, you want to challenge both of us at the same time? Shintu Kuang turned around slightly and looked at Yi Chunfeng with a provocative gaze as he deliberately asked. Yes, to save time, both of you can come at me together. Yi Chunfeng smiled and said indifferently, Yi Chunfeng, you really want to challenge both of them at the same time? You should know that you only have one chance to compete. If you fail, you will lose the qualifications to enter the true spirit realm. Huo Lingfeng frowned and reminded him kindly. Yes, I have thought about it. I want to challenge both of them at the same time. Yi Chunfeng nodded and replied. We have no objections. Shintu Kuang was afraid that Yi Chunfeng would regret his decision and quickly said, All right then. Since both of you have made up your minds, then this round of competition will be Yi Chunfeng against Shintu Kuang and Shangguan Yuantong. Huo Lingfeng announced loudly. Yi Chunfeng, you are courting death. Shintu Kuang revealed a sinister smile as he muttered in his heart. After witnessing Yi Chunfeng's terrifying attack power, Shintu Kuang originally did not have the confidence to defeat him. However, he never expected that things would take a turn for the better. Yi Chunfeng actually agreed to challenge both him and Shangguan Yuantong at the same time. This gave Shintu Kuang hope of victory, and the battle intent in his body grew stronger and stronger. And Yi Chenfeng's 1 against 2, challenging the 3rd and 4th experts of the Heaven Fire martial ranking, ignited the entire martial arena, causing the atmosphere to reach its peak. However, even more people did not think highly of him. After all, Shintu Kuang and Shintu Yi were both level 3 Earth Beast generals. If the two of them joined forces, even Lin Fuxin would be defeated. What an interesting kid! On the other martial arena, Lin Fuxin glanced at the imposing Yi Chenfeng from the corner of his eyes filled with battle intent. Begin. Chapter 119. Ao. Li, a black ape and a green eagle, appeared behind Shintu Kuang and Shangguan Yuantong. Soul power surged out from their bodies like raging waves. Wind Cry Sword! Shangguan Yuantong shouted. The high-grade spirit tool Wind Cry Sword let out an ear-piercing sword cry as it flew out of his Qiankuan bag. Under Shangguan Yuantong's control, it interweaved into streaks of fast sword rays that pierced towards Yi Chenfeng. What a fast sword! Senior brother Yuantong is indeed worthy of the title of soul-shaking sword. Lingtian 12 spears. At the same time Shangguan Yuantong used his fast sword to attack Shintu Kuang's sword into the sky. The high-grade spirit tool green-edge spear in his hand twisted like a snake. Streaks of sharp spear rays pierced through the air and enveloped Yi Chenfeng. Facing a pincer attack, Yi Chenfeng's calm face did not have any change in expression. His body flashed as he rushed towards Shangguan Yuantong's sword. Yi Chenfeng's body was pierced by the streaks of sword rays that were close to the speed of light. Following that, he was incinerated by the spear rays that descended from the sky. It's over? Seeing Yi Chenfeng being engulfed by the streaks of sword rays and spear rays, Shintu Kuang and Shangguan Yuantong revealed a trace of astonishment. They were astonished that the battle had ended so easily. No, that was just an afterimage. Suddenly, Shangguan Yuantong felt an intense sense of danger behind him. His heart jumped and he instinctively wanted to dodge. Shangguan Yuantong's reaction could be said to be extremely fast, but Yi Chenfeng's speed was even faster. His right hand, which was filled with tens of thousands of gene of strength, grabbed Shangguan Yuantong's shoulder. In the next moment, a powerful force erupted from his body like a volcano, instantly shattering Shangguan Yuantong's soul power. Like pulling out a radish, Shangguan Yuantong's entire body was forcefully pulled out. With a bang, he fell to the ground. What? How did senior brother Yi do it? How could he pass through such a fast sword ray and dodge to senior brother Shangguan's back? Are you stupid? Senior brother Yi dared to fight 1 against 2, so he naturally has something to rely on. Moreover, didn't you see that senior brother Yi still hasn't used his sword until now? As soon as this thin disciple spoke, everyone noticed that from the beginning until the end, Yi Chenfeng had been fighting with his bare hands, and he hadn't executed any unfathomable sword techniques. 12 spears of Lingtian, overturning rivers and seas. The spear in Shintu Kuang's hand pierced through the air. The sharp spear light was like a rolling wave as it surged towards Yi Chenfeng. Shangguan Yuantong wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth, and quickly got up from the ground. He kept increasing his soul power and slashed out one sword shadow after another. In order to limit Yi Chenfeng's speed, Shangguan Yuantong increased the speed of his sword to the maximum. The dense sword shadows were too much for the eyes to take in. Seeing the flickering spear light and sword shadows in front of him, Yi Chenfeng's body flashed slightly as he rushed forward again. Seeing that the spear light and sword shadows were about to pierce Yi Chenfeng's body, a silver light flashed under his feet as he used Form Displacement Phantom. In an instant, 3 afterimages appeared and swept past the two's fierce attacks, closing in on them. What? How is this possible? Seeing Yi Chenfeng rely on speed to pass through the spear light and sword shadows, Shintu Kuang and Shangguan Yuantong's hearts were in turmoil. It was as if they had seen a ghost. Before they could react, Yi Chenfeng's fist, which was filled with 100,000 kilograms of strength, smashed into their chests. Although they instinctively formed their soul armors to defend themselves, they were still unable to block the 100,000 kilograms of strength that burst forth from Yi Qinfeng's fist. Kacha! Two sounds rang out. Shintu Kuang's and Shangguan Yuantong's soul armors shattered. The extremely destructive power surged into their bodies, causing them to spit out large amounts of blood. Their bodies uncontrollably retreated, almost falling to the ground. How did you do it? Shangguan Yuantong couldn't believe that Yi Qinfeng had actually used the most direct method to pass through his fastest attack. This greatly damaged his confidence. Your attack speed is really too slow. Yi Qinfeng's lips curled up slightly, revealing a proud smile as he said indifferently. Yi Qinfeng, don't be arrogant. Victory will definitely belong to us. Seeing Yi Qinfeng's unfathomable speed, Shintu Kuang knew that he had to use his final trump card. Otherwise, he and Shangguan Yuantong would have no chance. Black Ape Berserk. Shintu Kuang took a deep breath, suppressing the surging blood in his heart. He forcefully used the innate ability of his spiritual beast, the Black Ape. His entire body continued to expand as waves of berserk energy were emitted from his body. In an instant, Shintu Kuang reached the peak of a third-rank Earth Beast General. His terrifying aura was close to that of a fourth-rank Earth Beast General. The Black Ape is indeed worthy of being a high-rank spiritual beast. This innate ability is too terrifying. Feeling the berserk energy emitted from Shintu Kuang's body, Hua Lingfeng praised. Shintu Kuang is not bad, but it's a pity that his opponent, Yi Qinfeng, is even more outstanding. Yi Qinfeng is basically going to win this match. Qian Daobai's eyes shot out rays of light as he said indifferently. That's right. Yi Qinfeng's strongest isn't his fist, but his sword. Having comprehended sword force, he's extremely terrifying. I just don't know if Shintu Kuang and Shangguan Yuantong can force Yi Qinfeng to use his sword. Elder Lu nodded and agreed. Lingtian 12 spears, first spear cleaving dust. After using his berserk ability, Shintu Kuang, whose strength had reached the peak, roared. The spear in his hand turned into a stream of light, stirring the air as it pierced towards Yi Qinfeng. The azure-edged spear streaked through the air, producing an ear-piercing sound of friction. A clear spear mark lingered in the air for a long time. Soul-shattering finger. Feeling the sharp attack of Shintu Kuang's spear, Yi Qinfeng poured 100,000 jin of strength and a strand of profound cold spirit water's cold qi into his finger. With a point of his finger, ripples appeared in the air. Qi. When Yi Qinfeng's finger and the azure-edged spear came into contact, the two powerful forces immediately exploded. Although first spear cleaving dust was the most terrifying killing move of the Lingtian 12 spears, the soul-shattering finger that had fused 100,000 jin of strength and a strand of profound cold spirit water's cold qi was even more terrifying. The terrifying finger force forcibly bent the azure-edged spear, and a powerful rebounding force continuously surged into Shintu Kuang's arm, causing his arm to crack open and bleed. Half-Moon Sword Art. Yi Qinfeng's finger blocked the azure-edged spear's attack. Shangguan Yuantong took the opportunity to use his killing move. A sharp half-moon sword image descended from the sky, chopping towards Yi Qinfeng. So Yi Qinfeng's body slightly swayed, and in the blink of an eye, he made 3 miraculous dodges, avoiding the half-moon sword art's attack. Now it's my turn to attack. Pay attention. Yi Qinfeng's lips curled up as he looked at the two with serious expressions. His body instantly turned into 3 fast afterimages, attacking Shintu Kuang and Shangguan Yuantong like a torrential rain. Although Shintu Kuang had used his berserk skill, and Shangguan Yuantong had continuously increased the speed of his sword, facing the unpredictable Yi Qinfeng, their attacks were pale and powerless. After about half an incense's time, the two's clothes were dyed red with blood. Blood continuously spurted out from their mouths, and they were unable to resist at all. More importantly, their martial hearts had been completely shattered by Yi Chunfeng. Yi Chunfeng's terror had become an insurmountable mountain in their hearts. "Ai, you guys are too weak." Yi Chunfeng lightly shook his head, losing his patience. He instantly raised his physical strength to the peak, and two fists filled with 120,000 jin of strength shot out like two meteors, shattering their defenses and bombarding their chests. Pu. Chapter 120. Too strong, senior brother. Yes, strength is too strong. Senior brother Shintu, senior brother Shangguan is like a toddler in front of him. He's not a threat at all. Witnessing Yi Chunfeng's overwhelming victory over Shintu Kuang and Shangguan Yuantong, almost all the disciples present were convinced by Yi Chunfeng's strength. After defeating Shintu Kuang and Shangguan Yuantong, Yi Chunfeng successfully stood out in the third group and joined Fu Yue and Lin Fuxin in the finals. Due to the group competition, Yi Chunfeng and the other two did not encounter any major problems. The three of them only needed to rest for half an hour before they completely recovered to their peak state. After drawing lots, the first match was between Fu Yue and Lin Fuxin, the second match was between Lin Fuxin and Yi Chunfeng, and the third match was between Yi Chunfeng and Fu Yue. Although the results of the draw were somewhat unfavorable to Yi Chunfeng, as he needed to continuously fight against the two top geniuses, Lin Fuxin and Fu Yue. However, Yi Chunfeng was not affected at all. Silent, he sat on the sidelines and watched the match between Fu Yue and Lin Fuxin. "Fu Yue, I've wanted to fight you for a long time." Lin Fuxin looked at the sexy and expressionless Fu Yue with a burning gaze. The battle intent in his body became stronger and stronger. "Lin Fuxin, you are not my opponent. I only need one slash to deal with you." Fu Yue took out the upper-grade spirit weapon, Blood Moonblade, from her heaven-earth pouch. She gently stroked the blood-red blade and said indifferently, "One slash." Lin Fuxin smiled arrogantly and said, "Then I'll see how you defeat me with one slash." Brute Elephant Fuse. When the match began, Lin Fuxin's body fused with his spiritual beast, Brute Elephant. The muscles in his body instantly swelled, and his strength rose steadily. Facing Fu Yue, who had astonishing attack power, Lin Fuxin did not choose to defend. Instead, he took the initiative to attack. Billowing soul power merged into his palms. 8th level of Limitless Sans Ho, Limitless Sky Splitting. A piercing roar came from Lin Fuxin's mouth. When he raised his power to its peak, he launched his strongest attack at Fu Yue. A gigantic palm imprint filled with destructive power, as if it wanted to pierce through the sky, pressed towards the motionless Fu Yue. 7th level of the void-shattering saber technique, Mountain and River Break. Fu Yue's eyes narrowed. Her hot body and the blood moon blade in her hand merged into a special path. He slashed down, and the sharp light of the blade carried a power that made people despair. It slashed towards Lin Fuxin's Wuji sky-breaking palm light. Chi. The sound of cloth being torn rang out. Lin Fuxin's boundless sky splitter was like tofu as it was cut by Fu Yue's blade. The destructive power of the blade did not slow down as it struck Lin Fuxin's body. The blade broke through his body's defense and sent him flying. A large amount of blood flowed out from his chest. When Lin Fuxin, who was injured in the chest, wanted to get up quickly, Fu Yue's cold blood moon blade was placed on his neck. She said without a trace of emotion, "Lin Fuxin, you lost. I admit defeat." After a year of hard work, Lin Fuxin's strength had improved by leaps and bounds. He thought that even if he could not defeat Fu Yue, he could at least put up a fight. However, after the fight, he realized that Fu Yue's growth was faster than his. She defeated him with just one move, which made his self-confidence suffer a huge blow. Blade Force. Fu Yue has comprehended Blade Force. Feeling the destructive power of Fu Yue's blade, Qian Daobai and the others who were sitting on the main stand were slightly moved. Blade Force was the same as Sword Force. It was something that swordsmen and swordsmen dreamed of. It could be said that swordsmen and swordsmen who comprehended blade force or sword force would have unlimited potential in the future. I wonder if Fu Yue's blade force or Yi Chenfeng's sword force is stronger. When Yi Chenfeng fought with Shin Tuheng, he had exposed his sword force. Therefore, after witnessing the scene of Fu Yue comprehending blade force, Elder Lu and the others could not help but look forward to the fight between the two. Fu Yue's attack just now was controlled very well and did not injure Lin Fuxin's body. Therefore, Lin Fuxin used an 8th grade pill to rest and recover in the time it took for 3 sticks of incense to burn. She had basically recovered from her injuries. Qingfeng, be careful. Although Lin Fuxin lost to Fu Yue in one move, you must not underestimate his strength. He is very scary. Lin Kazhu, who lost to Lin Fuxin and was eliminated, reminded him softly. I will be careful. Yi Chenfeng nodded. His body flashed slightly and appeared in the middle of the battle arena. He looked at Lin Fuxin, who had recovered from her injuries and was breathing heavily. Yi Chenfeng, in fact, you are the person I am looking forward to fighting the most. Let's compete in strength and see who is stronger. Lin Fuxin quickly walked out of the shadow of defeat and looked at Yi Chenfeng with high fighting spirit. All right, let's compete in strength. Yi Chenfeng smiled faintly and agreed without hesitation. Haha, great. You are really to my liking. Lin Fuxin laughed loudly. The elephant phantom appeared on his body again and increased his strength. With the perfect integration of Lin Fuxin's spirit beast, Yi Chenfeng's muscles vibrated and blue veins popped out like earthworms. A strong sense of oppression swept toward Yi Chenfeng. Lin Fuxin has integrated with his spirit beast, brute elephant. His physical strength is probably close to 90,000 pounds. Feeling the burst of oppression from Lin Fuxin's body, Yi Chenfeng vaguely guessed the limits of his physical body. Yi Chenfeng had never fought in a strength duel before, so he was full of anticipation for this battle. Begin. With Huo Lingfeng's order, Yi Chenfeng and Lin Fuxin moved at the same time. With a strong impact, they bombarded each other. When their fists collided, the huge impact made Lin Fuxin's body tremble slightly. However, neither of them retreated. They controlled the power in their bodies and continued to attack each other. Muffled thunderous sounds rang out incessantly. Yi Chenfeng and Li Wuchen were like two humanoid monsters, fiercely exchanging blows. What a powerful strength! After fighting with Yi Chenfeng for the time it took for 2 incense sticks to burn, Lin Fuxin finally realized how terrifying Yi Chenfeng's power was. Even with his strength that was several times stronger than ordinary people, he was still not his opponent. Boom boom, the two of them fought for hundreds of rounds. The powerful collision shook the ground under their feet and caused a lot of cracks to appear. The violent force swept in all directions, making the disciples of the martial house in the stands tremble with fear. Is this the strength of a human? I guess even a spirit beast is not as strong as them. The disciples of the martial house exclaimed. Yi Chenfeng, take my strongest move. Everlasting sky break. Lin Fuxin's blood and qi churned in her body. Her breathing quickened as she roared. She pushed her strength to the limit and formed a huge grayish-brown handprint. With a powerful destructive force, she attacked Yi Chenfeng. Cloud break palm. Feeling that Lin Fuxin's everlasting sky break had exceeded his strength limit, Yi Chenfeng did not dare to be careless and immediately counterattacked with a cloud break palm. The two palm prints bombarded together, and the explosive force was earth-shattering. A bright halo of energy spread out in all directions. In the dazzling halo of energy, a figure who lost control of his body slashed through the halo and fell out of the arena, losing the match. Chapter 121. He won. Senior brother Yi defeated senior brother Lin. Seeing Lin Fuxin fall out of the arena, covered in blood and unable to get up for a long time, the entire arena became noisy. Do you guys think the champion will be senior sister Fu or senior brother Lin? Many people started to compare Yi Chenfeng and Fu Yue. Senior Sister Fu should be more powerful. After all, Senior Sister Fu killed 3 Class 5 Earth Beast generals single-handedly and defeated Senior Brother Lin with a single slash. I also think that Senior Sister Fu is powerful. Senior Brother Yi doesn't have a high chance of winning. Although Yi Chunfeng had defeated all his opponents and had a strong performance, Fu Yue's performance was even more heaven-defying. Almost no one could withstand a single slash from her. Therefore, more people were optimistic about Fu Yue and thought that she would be the champion. What a terrifying soul skill. The palm print that Yi Chunfeng used just now, or could it be a high-ranked Earth-class soul skill? Thinking back to the scene where Yi Chunfeng sent Lin Fuxin flying with a single palm, Qian Daobai revealed an extremely shocked expression. He had a feeling that Yi Chunfeng's cloud-collapsing palm might be stronger than his. Yi Chunfeng, how long do you need to rest? Do you need to continue the final battle with Fu Yue tomorrow? During the fair period, Qian Daobai slowly stood up from his seat and asked in a deep voice. No need. Give me 5 minutes to recover. Yi Chunfeng shook his head and said. Although Yi Chunfeng's battle with Lin Fuxin seemed intense, his physical recovery ability was extremely terrifying as he had cultivated his 6th Meridian Divine Shield to the 3rd level. 5 minutes was enough for him to recover his exhausted energy and adjust his body to its peak state. Good. In that case, I will give you the time it takes for an incense stick to burn to recover. After that, we will begin the final battle. Qian Daobai looked at Yi Chunfeng with a deep gaze, nodded, and announced. 1 incense stick of time. When Fu Yue heard that Yi Chunfeng only needed 30 minutes to recover, a trace of surprise flashed across her beautiful eyes. She glanced at Yi Chunfeng, who was sitting cross-legged on the martial stage, adjusting his breathing to recover. She closed her eyes again, waiting for the arrival of the final battle. The time it took for an incense stick to burn passed by quickly. After the time it took for an incense stick to burn, Yi Chunfeng completely recovered his physical strength. He slowly stood up and said, Manor Lord, I have completely recovered. I can begin the competition. Buzz. As soon as Yi Chunfeng finished speaking, Fu Yue, who was sitting cross-legged on the spectator's stand, opened her eyes. Her body suddenly leaped up like a saber, streaking across the sky and landing on the battle arena. Yi Chunfeng's eyes lit up when he felt the powerful blade aura emanating from Fu Yue's body. The sword aura in his body gushed out uncontrollably and collided with Fu Yue's blade aura. Rumble! When the sword aura and blade aura collided, it immediately set off a monstrous wave in the air. The powerful aura made many of the martial house disciples in the spectators' stand feel suffocated. Sword aura, Senior Brother Yi has actually comprehended sword aura. How did he cultivate? Lin Fuxin, who had lost to Yi Chunfeng, was seriously injured. He rubbed his red and swollen chest and muttered to himself, abnormal, this Yi Chunfeng is indeed the same as Fu Yue. They are both abnormal. At this moment, he was completely convinced by Yi Chunfeng's strength. He wholeheartedly accepted his loss. Yi Chunfeng, you are not bad. Your growth speed has exceeded my expectations. I hope that you will not disappoint me when we fight later. Fu Yue opened her moist mouth slightly and said coldly when she sensed that her blade aura was unable to do anything to Yi Chunfeng's sword aura. Don't worry, you will be satisfied. Yi Chunfeng looked at Fu Yue's cold face and replied indifferently. The coiling dragon heavy sword, which weighed 3,000 jin, appeared in his hand. The sharp sword aura continued to rise. Begin. With Qian Daobai's command, the final battle began. Boom! The blade aura in Fu Yue's body was completely released. She had yet to draw her blade, but it gave off a domineering aura. The terrifying aura was enough to shatter one's courage. Swoosh! The earth-shattering blade aura attacked. Yi Chunfeng immediately drew his sword. A glaring sword ray swept across the sky. It tore apart the blade aura and attacked Fu Yue. Break! Fu Yue's pupils shrank. The blood moon blade in her hand slashed out. The terrifying blade ray shattered Yi Qianfeng's sword ray. So strong, this Fu Yue is indeed the #1 genius of the Sky Fire Martial House. Her attack power is probably the same as mine, surpassing a 6th grade Earth Beast General. After witnessing the power of Fu Yue's blade, Yi Qianfeng also had a competitive spirit. However, he did not want to reveal his 2 trump cards, the Profound Frost Spirit Water and the Extermination Sword Art. He constantly urged his sword aura to attack. In an instant, the entire arena was filled with blade rays and sword shadows. Boundless energy swept across the surroundings. The arena, which was made of special materials, was trembling violently. Sky-breaking blade art, mountain and river break. The blade aura was unable to suppress Yi Qianfeng. Fu Yue's slender legs suddenly exerted strength. Her graceful body swept across the sky. A ferocious and overbearing blade ray slashed through the void towards Yi Qianfeng. 120,000 jin of strength explode. Yi Qianfeng's pupils shrank. All the strength in his body exploded and poured into the coiling dragon heavy sword. He activated the 9 great offensive array patterns in the heavy sword and slashed out. Boom! The blade rays and sword shadows collided. The sky was filled with sword chi and blade rays that flew in all directions. The sturdy arena was riddled with holes. The terrifying attack deeply shocked the hearts of the martial house disciples in the spectator stands. How is this possible? How can that little bastard be so strong? Shintu Kuang was deeply shocked by Yi Qianfeng's astonishing strength. He revealed a complicated expression of despair, unwillingness and helplessness. With the strength that Yi Qianfeng had displayed, he knew that he would never be able to surpass him in this lifetime. Sky-breaking blade art, splitting heaven and earth. The moment Fu Yue landed on the arena, her entire body fused with the blood moon blade. She slashed out the 8th move of the sky-breaking blade art at Yi Qianfeng. The scarlet-red blade ray seemed to fuse with endless flames as it tore through the air and slashed towards Yi Qianfeng. Collapsing cloud palm. Feeling the terror of Fu Yue's blade, Yi Qianfeng suddenly took a step forward. All the strength in his body and soul power surged into his right palm. 3 overlapping collapsing cloud palms surged out. One palm imprinted on the scarlet-red blade ray, resisting Fu Yue's 8th move of the sky-breaking blade art. Rumble! A thunderous sound exploded. A powerful force swept through the heavens and earth, nearly shattering the arena that was filled with cracks. Deng deng! Although Yi Qianfeng's collapsing cloud palm was able to resist Fu Yue's 8th move of the sky-breaking blade art, he was still forced back 3 steps by the terrifying recoil. The blood in his body was violently tumbling. Fu Yue did not feel good either. Her cold face flushed red and her breathing became hurried. Her right hand that was holding the blood moon blade tightly had a trace of blood flowing out. Palace Lord, who do you think will have the last laugh between the two of them? Vice Palace Lord Hualing Feng was shaken to the core by the two's shocking strength. He had to admit that both Yi Qianfeng and Fu Yue's attack power surpassed his. I can't tell either. However, based on their current situation, the results of the competition should be revealed soon. Qian Daobai looked at Yi Qianfeng and Fu Yue with a burning gaze and said with some anticipation, Senior Sister Fu, it's my turn to attack. Yi Qianfeng took a deep breath and suppressed the surging blood in his body. Sword Force Second Heaven gushed out from his body and soared into the sky. Sword Force Second Heaven. Chapter 122. Second Heaven of Sword Force. Yi Qianfeng actually comprehended the second heaven of sword force. He doesn't seem to be 17 years old yet. Hearing Fu Yue's exclamation, Qian Daobai suddenly stood up from his chair. His turbid eyes stared at Yi Qianfeng. His eyes were filled with shock. Shifting phantom shadow. Under everyone's dumbfounded gazes, Yi Qianfeng's feet flashed with a silver light. He instantly transformed into 3 afterimages and launched a fierce attack at Fu Yue. Although Yi Qinfeng didn't use any soul skills, every sword of his was filled with the second heaven of sword force. The terrifying sword aura gradually suppressed Fu Yue's attack. The two of them fought with speed. Afterimages of speed constantly intertwined in the shattered martial arena. In the blink of an eye, the two of them had exchanged dozens of moves. Many of the weaker disciples couldn't even catch sight of their figures. The soul-stirring battle shook the hearts of all the disciples. Sky-breaking blade art, heaven and earth rend. Fu Yue's attacks were slowly suppressed by Yi Qinfeng. She took a deep breath and stomped on the ground. Amidst the crisscrossing sword light, she swept into the air and slashed out the eighth style of the sky-breaking blade art. She broke Yi Qinfeng's continuous attacks and forced him to retreat. Yi Qinfeng, you are indeed a good opponent. Although she forced Yi Qinfeng back, Fu Yue's consumption was obvious. She knew that her chances were getting smaller. If she couldn't defeat Yi Qinfeng in one move, she would be the one to lose. You are not bad too. Yi Qinfeng panted. After exchanging blows with Fu Yue, he had gained a lot of insight. Especially the blade force that Fu Yue executed, it deepened his understanding of sword force. Boom! Yi Qinfeng stomped on the ground. He didn't give Fu Yue any chance to take a breather and continued to attack her. 120,000 pounds of strength erupt. With a thrust of his sword, Yi Qinfeng activated his 6th Meridian Divine Shield. His entire body's strength exploded once again as he thrust his sword towards Fu Yue's chest. When Fu Yue raised her saber to counterattack and forcefully broke apart Yi Qinfeng's powerful strike, Yi Qinfeng flicked his wrist, and streaks of lightning-like sword light shot out. With an ear-piercing sound, they continuously attacked Fu Yue's body. The second heaven of sword force completely disrupted Fu Yue's attack rhythm, quickly depleting the soul power in her body. With her attacks completely suppressed, Fu Yue, who was continuously retreating, bit the tip of her tongue fiercely. A large green rock appeared on her body and let out a piercing whistle at Yi Qinfeng, interrupting Yi Qinfeng's attack. Azure Sky Rock Bloodline. When the azure sky ping turned into endless bloody light and entered her body, a powerful bloodline power awakened in her body, constantly increasing her strength. Bloodline power. Fu Yue actually has the soul beast bloodline flowing in her body. It was the first time Qian Daobai and the others saw Fu Yue use her bloodline power, and they were a little surprised by her identity. In the fighting spirit continent, not everyone had a soul beast, and those who had the soul beast bloodline power were even rarer. Generally, those who had the bloodline power came from their family bloodline inheritance. From this point of view, Fu Yue's identity was not simple. 5th grade beast general. Sensing that Fu Yue had used her bloodline power to increase her strength, Yi Qinfeng could not help but reveal a trace of seriousness. Obviously, Fu Yue's strength and trump cards were beyond his expectations, and he smelled the scent of danger. Yi Qinfeng, it's over. Heaven and earth split. Fu Yue, whose strength had skyrocketed and soul power gushed out, roared loudly. The blood moon saber in her hand turned into a bloody light and slashed towards Yi Qinfeng with a thunderous force. After activating her bloodline power, Fu Yue's strength and attack speed had been greatly increased. The sharp saber light left a long saber mark in the air. The moment the saber light approached, the coiling dragon heavy sword's 9 major attack patterns were activated at the same time. Yi Qinfeng controlled the second heaven of sword force and merged it with his physical strength and struck the bloody saber light. Buzz! Countless sparks sputtered out like blossoming flowers of sparks, gorgeous and hair-raising. Cloud-breaking palm. The moment the two attacks collided, Yi Qinfeng quickly struck out a palm. The extremely penetrating cloud-breaking palm directly pierced through the bloody saber light and struck towards Fu Yue's chest. Swoosh! After activating her bloodline power, Fu Yue's movement speed was greatly increased. Her body flashed slightly and turned into a green light, dodging the cloud-breaking palm attack. Annihilation Sword Art Cloud Piercing. Yi Qinfeng's pupils shrank as he locked onto Fu Yue, who had dodged to the side. A cloud-piercing sword shadow that was faster than the speed of light shot out and slashed towards Fu Yue, whose expression changed slightly. Although the Annihilation Sword Art and Cloud-Breaking Palm were both Earth-class soul skills, when Yi Qinfeng executed the Annihilation Sword Art, he had merged the second heaven of sword force. Therefore, the Annihilation Sword Art's attack power was far superior to Cloud-Breaking Palm. What a fast sword speed! Fu Yue did not expect Yi Qinfeng's sword to be so fast. In the blink of an eye, it was right in front of her. She had no way of dodging it. Mountain River Slash. At the critical moment, the saber force in Fu Yue's body erupted like a volcano. A Milky Way-like saber light slashed towards the cloud piercing that was rapidly approaching. Ka-cha-cha! The sound of the air being torn apart could be heard. Streams of turbulent air were scattered everywhere. PFFF. Facing Yi Qinfeng's cloud-piercing head-on, Fu Yue only felt her body tremble. A powerful sword qi broke through her defense and drilled into her body. It damaged her meridians, and she spat out a mouthful of blood uncontrollably. Fu Yue is injured. Even after activating her Azure Sky Rock bloodline, she is still not Yi Qinfeng's opponent. Huo Lingfeng looked at Fu Yue, who was spitting out blood and retreating. He let out an incredulous cry. Another high-ranked Earth-ranked soul skill. Yi Qinfeng, you're really surprising me more and more. Could it be that the death of the Dark Radiant sect is related to you? Qian Daobai's eyes shot out rays of light as he stared at Yi Qinfeng. It was as if he wanted to see through him. Yi Qinfeng, I still have a move that I have not used. If you can block it, I will admit defeat in this competition. Fu Yue, whose face was slightly pale, said softly as she wiped the blood from the corner of her mouth. All right, then let's settle this in one move. Yi Qinfeng also wanted to end the battle as soon as possible. He nodded and said, Void Splitting Blade Art, 9th Style, Void Splitting Blade. Fu Yue roared. Her soul power was raised to the limit. The blood moon in her hand also shone with endless blood light, illuminating the heaven and earth. With a slash, the blood-red blade light was like a blood-red dragon, splitting the heaven and earth. It slashed towards Yi Qinfeng with a force that could break the void. The terrifying blade aura made all the disciples of the martial house feel suffocated. It was as if doomsday had arrived. With this slash, Fu Yue's soul power was almost depleted. She had no choice but to stab the blood moon blade into the ground to support her body. Annihilation Sword Art, Wind Shadow Slash. Looking at the blood-red blade light that slashed through the sky, Yi Qinfeng's body suddenly flashed. A half-moon sword shadow tore through the layers of air. It extended for more than 10 meters and slashed together with the blood-red blade light, forming a powerful storm. After the two attacks clashed in midair for 2 breaths, Fu Yue's void-splitting blade suddenly showed crisscrossing cracks. It was broken by the wind shadow slash that was filled with 2 sword auras. Pu. Chapter 123. Senior Sister Fu has lost. Senior Brother Yi has the last laugh. Looking at Yi Qinfeng, whose clothes were severely damaged and whose coiling dragon sword was stabbed into the ground to support his weak body, the disciples of the martial house revealed a look of awe. He won. Qingfeng really defeated Senior Sister Fu. Lin Kerzu covered her mouth tightly with her snow-white hands, trying her best not to lose her composure and cry out in alarm. However, Yi Qinfeng's unparalleled figure was deeply imprinted in the depths of her soul and could not be dispelled. Good, very good. Yi Qinfeng, you really didn't disappoint me. Yi Qinfeng being able to defeat Fu Yue in the most direct way was out of Qian Daobai's expectation. After all, Fu Yue had just used her bloodline power to raise her cultivation by a small realm. Other than being shocked, Qian Daobai's heart was more gratified and excited. With the strength that Yi Qinfeng and Fu Yue had displayed, they were definitely not inferior to the sect's geniuses. Their chances of obtaining great opportunities in the true spirit secret realm had increased by a lot. And if Yi Chunfeng and Fu Yue obtained great opportunities in the true spirit secret realm, he would also be able to benefit from it. Yi Chunfeng, Fu Yue, Lin Fuxin, this is your reward. 3 spirit-level soul pills. Keep them well. Qian Daobai took out 3 white jade porcelain bottles from his cosmos bag and gave them to Yi Chunfeng and the other 2. Alright, the 3 of you go back and have a good rest. Prepare well. When the true spirit secret realm is about to open, I will inform you and bring you there. Qian Daobai said. Yes, Martial House Master. After speaking, Yi Chunfeng and the other 2 left the martial house under the respectful gazes of the crowd and returned to their respective residences to rest. Returning to the small courtyard built on the cliff, Yi Chunfeng immediately activated the restriction runes and covered the entire courtyard. He took out 2 mid-grade soul crystals and held them in his hand. He circulated the soul-devouring art to devour the pure soul power to heal himself. In the battle with Fu Yue, Yi Chunfeng had been severely injured, but he had also gained a lot of insight. While he was healing, he continued to integrate his insights from the battle to deepen his understanding of sword momentum. After about a day or so, Yi Chunfeng had basically recovered from his injuries. With the help of the God-Eater Brain's powerful comprehension, he fused his battle comprehension into his sword force and captured a trace of the 3rd heaven of sword force. However, every increase in sword force was a qualitative leap. It was unrealistic for Yi Chunfeng to want to comprehend the 3rd layer of sword force in a short period of time. After some contemplation, he decided to use the limited time he had to break through to the 4th layer of Earth Beast General. 3 Revolutions Soul Condensing Pill, the highest quality of spirit-grade soul pills. It's refined from 100 types of spirit herbs. After consuming it, it can form a large amount of soul power in the body, and it has very little pill poison. Yi Chunfeng controlled the God-Eater Brain and scanned the bottle. There were 3 elixir veins on the surface of the bottle. It was entirely green and emitted a faint fragrance. The name, grade, and effects of this elixir immediately appeared in his mind. After learning the effects of the 3 Revolutions Soul Condensing Pill, Yi Chunfeng swallowed it without hesitation. He circulated the soul-devouring art at high speed, refining and absorbing the powerful medicinal energy released by the 3 Revolutions Soul Condensing Pill to break through to the 4th layer of Earth Beast General. As the 3 Revolutions Soul Condensing Pill completely melted, waves of energy were released from Yi Chunfeng's body like a tide. However, the energy contained in the 3 Revolutions Soul Condensing Pill was not violent, and Yi Chunfeng did not feel much pain. The gentle energy flowed along the meridians in Yi Chunfeng's body, continuously circulating around his body. It fused into his meridians, flesh and blood, increasing his soul power. Yi Chunfeng had obtained a spirit-level soul pill when he had killed the dim radiant sect. With the help of that pill, his cultivation had already reached the peak of the 3rd layer of Earth Beast General. Now that he had taken the even more powerful 3 Revolutions Soul Condensing Pill, his soul power had become even more vigorous, and the bottleneck of his cultivation was constantly loosening. If not for Yi Chunfeng constantly suppressing his cultivation, he would have broken through to the 4th layer of Earth Beast General long ago. Roughly a day later, Yi Chunfeng's soul power was finally overflowing. The vigorous soul power directly broke through the bottleneck, and he smoothly broke through to the next layer. 4th layer of Earth Beast General. Feeling the change in his cultivation, Yi Chunfeng opened his tightly shut eyes, a faint smile on his face. After breaking through to the next layer, Yi Chunfeng felt that a third of the 3 Revolutions Soul Condensing Pill's medicinal energy remained in his body. His breakthrough this time was the result of his overflowing soul power, and he did not need to consolidate his cultivation. Meridians fuse. Yi Chunfeng circulated his 6 meridians divine shield, slowly fusing the remaining 3 revolutions' soul-condensing pills' medicinal energy into his meridians. He began to cultivate the 4th layer of the 6 meridians' divine shield, the muscle refinement realm. However, the muscle refinement realm was more difficult to cultivate than the viscera refinement realm, and required more energy. Yi Chunfeng's meridians had fused with 1/3 of the 3 revolutions' soul-condensing pills' medicinal energy, and there was almost no change. Sigh, looks like I have to think of other ways to cultivate the muscle refinement realm to the realm of great success. Yi Chunfeng sighed softly, and dismissed the idea of cultivating the muscle refinement realm to the realm of small success. He took out the sword force manual that Xue Piaoling had left for him, and continued to study it. Just as Yi Chunfeng was hiding in a small courtyard and carefully comprehending the sword force scroll, an unexpected person suddenly appeared and paid him a visit. "Senior Sister Fu, are you looking for me for something?" Yi Chunfeng looked at Fu Yue, who was wearing a long black dress, had a tall figure, a unique temperament, and an expressionless face, and asked softly. From the aura that Fu Yue's body inadvertently leaked out, she had also broken through to the realm of a 5th-grade Earth Beast General. "I want to spar with you." Fu Yue looked at Yi Chunfeng's chiseled face, which was very pleasing to the eye. She slightly opened her rosy lips, and said sparingly, "Okay, let's go to the Great Soul Arena." Yi Chunfeng had gained a lot from the battle with Fu Yue, so he did not reject her challenge, and came to the Great Soul Arena with her. Soon, the news of their battle in the Great Soul Arena spread throughout the Sky Fire Martial House. A large number of Martial House disciples poured into the Great Soul Arena to watch their battle. Yi Chunfeng had broken through to the next realm, and his strength had increased a lot, but after his battle with Fu Yue, he discovered that her strength had also increased by leaps and bounds. But this time, the two of them only wanted to comprehend the concept of battle, and had no intention of determining the winner or loser, so although their battle seemed intense, it was not dangerous. About 3 hours later, the exhausted and close to collapse 2 people tacitly stopped fighting at the same time. They left the shattered Great Soul Arena and returned to their respective courtyards to sort out their comprehensions from the battle. Time passed day by day. Yi Chunfeng and Fu Yue fought once every 10 days or so, and their comprehension of sword and saber force deepened with each battle. "Yi Chunfeng, take my saber." Fu Yue, who was wearing a tight black dress and looked like a dark elf, roared. A saber force that made people stop breathing gushed out and fused into the Blood Moon saber. With a slash, saber chi crisscrossed, and an unparalleled saber light ruthlessly slashed towards Yi Chunfeng. Chi! Yi Chunfeng's saber light was shattered by Fu Yue's saber. The powerful saber light ruthlessly slashed onto the coiling dragon heavy sword, causing Yi Chunfeng's chi and blood to churn. He retreated, and a stream of blood flowed out from the corner of his mouth. Second-level saber force. Feeling that Fu Yue's saber was filled with destructive power, Yi Chunfeng's expression changed slightly, and he cried out in surprise. "Are you surprised?" Fu Yue's rosy lips curled up slightly, and a rare stunning smile appeared on her frosty but exceptionally beautiful face. She said, "You are not the only one who can comprehend second-level concept in the Earth Beast General Realm." Chapter 124. In the early morning, rays of gentle sunlight penetrated through the clouds and shone on one's face. It was warm and sunny. Ever since Fu Yue comprehended the second heaven of sword force, she did not disturb him. As for Yi Chunfeng, he spent the rest of his time comprehending the sword force and gradually grasped the essence of the third heaven of sword force. The mansion master has summoned me." Just as Yi Chunfeng was sitting cross-legged under the ancient tree in the courtyard and was in a state of meditation, the communication pearl in Yi Chunfeng's arms suddenly vibrated. Gon Daobai's voice was heard from the communication pearl. "It seems like the true spirit secret realm is going to open soon." Yi Chunfeng took a deep breath and had no choice but to stop his epiphany. He stood up slowly and left the quiet courtyard. He came to the meeting hall and saw Fu Yue, who was as cold as ice. Lin Fuxin, who was tall and sturdy, had arrived early. After refining the spirit-level soul elixir, Lin Fuxin had also made a breakthrough and became a 4th-grade Earth Beast General. Mansion Master. Yi Chunfeng nodded at Fu Yue and Lin Fuxin before walking in front of Gan Daobai. I called all 3 of you here today because there's still a week before the True Spirit Secret Realm opens. I've decided to bring all of you to the Black Swamp outside the True Spirit Secret Realm tomorrow morning to wait for the Secret Realm to open. The True Spirit Secret Realm opens once every 3 years and lasts for a month each time. Although there are countless opportunities and treasures in the Secret Realm, it is also accompanied by great danger. Every time the True Spirit Secret Realm opens, there will be a large number of prodigious disciples who will lose their lives in there. According to past experience, most of the prodigious disciples who lost their lives in the True Spirit Secret Realm were mostly killed by prodigies from other sections. So when all of you enter the True Spirit Secret Realm, you have to be careful of the prodigious disciples from other sects and martial houses. Be careful of their sneak attacks and robberies. Gan Daobai reminded them seriously. Mansion Master, didn't the 3 major sects forbid their disciples from killing each other? Also, why can't Earth Beast Generals and above enter the True Spirit Secret Realm? Lin Fuxin asked doubtfully. Fu Yue and Lin Fuxin were rising stars in the past 2 years. They had never entered the True Spirit Realm, so they did not know much about it. I don't know why Earth Beast Generals and above can't enter the True Spirit Secret Realm, but there were Heavenly Beast Immortals and even Xian Beast Sect experts who took the risk to enter, but they were instantly crushed by the True Spirit Secret Realm's spatial power. Apart from the experts who have surpassed the Earth Beast General realm, the Earth Beast Generals who are over 30 years old cannot enter the True Spirit Secret Realm either. Otherwise, they will be torn apart by the space power contained in the True Spirit Secret Realm. The 3 sects indeed strictly forbid their disciples from killing each other. However, the True Spirit Secret Realm is too big, and there are dangers everywhere. As long as one does it cleanly and without leaving any traces, the 3 sects can't do anything without any evidence. Qian Daobai explained. Oh right, Qingfeng, I've also received a piece of bad news for you. I heard that among the 10 Earth Beast General disciples selected by the Heavenly Fire Sect to enter the True Spirit Secret Realm, Yushan Xian is one of them. After a period of bitter cultivation, he has broken through to the level 6 Earth Beast General Realm. Qian Daobai reminded. Yushan Xian. Hearing this news, Yi Chunfeng's face was expressionless. However, he had a trace of killing intent in his heart. He knew that if he were to meet Yushan Xian in the True Spirit Secret Realm, they would definitely fight to the death. As for Yushan Xian's strength, Yi Chunfeng did not take it to heart. As long as he was given the chance, he was confident that he could defeat Yushan Xian. Thank you for telling me, Martial House Master. I will be careful. Yi Chunfeng nodded and said. If you are able to obtain a great opportunity in the True Spirit Secret Realm, you can offer it to the Heavenly Fire Sect. That way, other than receiving generous rewards, you can also directly enter the Heavenly Fire Sect and become an inner disciple. Alright, I've said all that needs to be said. The rest will depend on your abilities. I hope that you can find your own opportunity in the True Spirit Secret Realm and return safely. Martial House Master, we will not embarrass the Heavenly Fire Martial House. Lin Fuxin clenched her fists and said solemnly. Alright. Tomorrow morning we will leave for the Blackpool Swamp. Go back and have a good rest. Qian Daobai nodded and said. He was worried for Yi Chunfeng. He was worried that Yushan Xian would join forces with the Heavenly Fire Sect to take revenge on him. If that was the case, Yi Chunfeng would be in great danger. The next morning, Yi Chunfeng and the other 2 gathered at the mountain gate of the Heavenly Fire Martial House. Under the escort of Qian Daobai and Hua Lingfeng, they rode on 2 green-winged doves and left the Heavenly Fire Martial House. They flew towards the Blackpool swamp that was tens of thousands of miles away. 5 days later, 2 green-winged doves spread their wings and broke through the thick clouds. They flew into the complicated terrain of the Blackpool swamp that was filled with a large amount of fog and danger. The true spirit's secret realm is at the core of the Blackpool swamp. We will fly there directly. Qian Daobai stood on the head of one of the green-winged doves and looked into the distance. Martial House Master, what is that in front? The 2 green-winged doves flapped their huge wings and flew rapidly above the Blackpool swamp. Yi Chunfeng looked through the misty clouds and saw a large amount of red light in front of them. That is the guiding red light. It comes from the true spirit's secret realm. When the guiding red light reaches a certain amount, it will form the entrance of the secret realm. At that time, you will be able to enter the true spirit's secret realm. Qian Daobai said, "Let's go down." When the 2 green-winged doves got close to the guiding red light, they immediately became restless. Sensing the fear of the green-winged doves, Qian Daobai didn't dare to get close to them. He ordered them to fly down from the 9 heavens. They passed through the thick clouds and landed in the damp swamp. Yes, I didn't expect them to arrive first. When the 2 green-winged doves landed in the Blackpool swamp, Qian Daobai saw from afar that there were more than 10 figures stationed under the guiding red light, waiting for the true spirit's secret realm to open. They are from the Wind Cloud Martial House and the Thunder Mountain Martial House. The tall and sturdy Lin Fuxin recognized them with a single glance. His eyes were filled with a strong battle intent. Yi Chunfeng, that man with the black robe and the scar at the corner of his eye, is called Huang Lin. He is the strongest expert of the Wind Cloud Martial House. His strength is terrifying. I once fought with him in the past and lost to him by half a move. Just when Yi Chunfeng was secretly sizing up the Wind Cloud Martial House and the Thunder Mountain Martial House's disciples, Fu Yue's mouth moved slightly, and her voice was transmitted into his ears. This Huang Lin is so strong. Yi Chunfeng followed Fu Yue's cold gaze and saw Huang Lin sitting cross-legged on the ground, emitting a dangerous aura. This Huang Lin is a spear genius. However, when I lost to him, I didn't activate my bloodline power and only comprehended half-step blade force. If I were to fight with him now, I am confident that I can cut him down. Apart from the Wind Cloud Martial House's Huang Lin, the Thunder Mountain Martial House's Yi Kursin is also not to be underestimated. At least 5,000 people have died in his hands. Fu Yue explained. I was wondering why this person couldn't hide his killing intent. It turns out that he walks the Tao of killing and intentionally condenses his killing intent. Yi Chunfeng glanced at Yi Kursin, who was wearing a dark red robe and had a slightly pale face filled with murderous intent. He paid special attention to him. Apart from the 2 of them, the other disciples are nothing to be afraid of. However, our main competitors this time are from the 3 great sects. If I'm not mistaken, the disciples selected by the 3 great sects to enter the true spirit's secret realm should all be 6th-grade Earth Beast generals. Fu Yue continued to transmit her voice. Qian Daobai, is there no one else in the Sky Fire Martial House? Why did you choose 2 4th-grade Earth Beast generals to enter the true spirit's secret realm? It's rare for you to send them in as cannon fodder. Just as Yi Chunfeng and the other 4 were choosing a place to set up camp and waiting for the true spirit's secret realm to open, an aquiline-nosed old man from the Wind Cloud Martial House glanced at Yi Chunfeng and the other 2 and mocked them. Yun Kongshui, your mouth is still so smelly. Qian Daobai looked at his old rival and retorted, your mouth is so foul. Be careful that your disciples will suffer retribution. Hearing Qian Daobai's retort, Yun Kongshui's face instantly darkened. His sunken eyes shot out a ruthless light. Just as the atmosphere was getting tense, an ear-piercing bird cry came from afar. 4 fire-wing-wind birds flapped their fiery red wings and flew over. Chapter 125. Our heavenly fire sex experts are here. Qian Daobai glanced at the 4 fire-wing wind birds that were rapidly approaching. Feng, when you see Yushan Xian later, you must restrain yourself and try not to clash with him, lest he finds an excuse to kill you. Feng nodded, but he didn't intend to restrain himself. He knew that with Yushan Xian's vengeful character, he wouldn't let him go even if he restrained himself. Furthermore, Feng also wanted to kill Yushan Xian. If it wasn't for Xue Piaoling's help, he would have been killed by the Dark Radiant sect. Screech, the 4 firewing wind birds let out a long cry, bringing along a huge gust of wind as they descended. When the 3 martial houses flying spirit beasts sensed the powerful aura released by the firewing wind birds, they were obviously anxious and didn't dare to approach them. Disciple Qian Daobai greets the Sword Hall Master. When Qian Daobai saw a white-robed, white-haired, ruddy-faced old man with snow-white hair and beard, who exuded a fierce aura, jump down from the firewing windbird, he immediately walked forward and respectfully bowed like a disciple. Hall Master. Hearing how Qian Daobai addressed the youthful-faced elder, Feng revealed a trace of surprise. He didn't expect that the Heavenly Fire Sect would send one of the 4 Hall Masters, the Sword Hall Master, to hold the fort when the true Spirit Secret Realm opened. The Hall Master's position in the Heavenly Fire Sect surpassed the Elders and was second only to the Sect Master. The Sword Hall Master had the strongest offensive power among the 4 Hall Masters. It was enough to show the importance the Heavenly Fire Sect placed on the true Spirit Secret Realm. Daobai, you have left the Heavenly Fire Sect for 10 years, right? The Sword Hall Master looked at the bowing Qian Daobai without any expression on his face as he asked in a deep voice. Disciple has left the Heavenly Fire Sect for 11 years and 3 months. Qian Daobai respectfully said, but Disciple is slow-witted and my spiritual beast is unable to transform, so I haven't been able to break through to the Heaven Beast Immortal Realm. If your Heavenly Fire Sect's disciple can find a great opportunity for my Heavenly Fire Sect in the true Spirit Secret Realm, I will reward you with an Immortal Ascension Pill to help you break through to the Heaven Beast Immortal Realm. The Sword Hall Master promised. Thank you, Hall Leader. Hearing the Sword Hall Master's promise, Qian Daobai was overjoyed. If he could obtain an Immortal Ascension Elixir, he was 90% sure that his spiritual beast would transform and break through to the first-grade Heavenly Beast Immortal Realm. Feng, we meet again. Who would have thought that your life would be so tough to survive until now? Behind the Sword Hall's Hall Master, the dim radiant Sect's Hall Master saw Feng, who had a straight back and an expressionless face. His pupils constricted as he mocked with ill intentions. You're not dead yet, so how can I bear to die before you? Feng smiled and retorted without holding back. Just as Feng finished speaking, the Sword Hall Master and other experts of the Heavenly Fire Sect shifted their gazes to Feng. Even the Wind Cloud Martial House and Thunder Mountain Martial House's experts were looking at him. They were shocked that a mere disciple of a martial house dared to openly challenge the genius disciple of the Heavenly Fire Sect, Yushan Xian. Haha, I won't die so easily, but you might not. Yushan Xian's eyes flashed with killing intent as he laughed arrogantly. Wishes are beautiful, but reality is cruel. Yushan Xian, you better believe in fate. Feng sneered and retorted. What's wrong, Feng? Do you want me to die so badly? Yushan Xian's face sank as he spoke gloomily. It's not that I want you to die, it's that they want you to die. So, before you bite someone, you should clearly see who your enemy is. Don't bite randomly like a mad dog. Feng mocked without holding back. You dare to call me a mad dog? Yushan Xian thought that he was arrogant enough, but he didn't expect that Feng would be even more arrogant than him. He actually dared to insult him in public. A surge of murderous aura was emitted from his body, suppressing Feng. What's wrong? You're angry? I thought you were quite magnanimous. The corner of Feng's mouth curled up slightly. A sharp sword aura gushed out from his body, tearing apart the pressure released by Yushan Xian. Sword aura. Feeling the sword aura gushing out from Yi Chunfeng's body, the Sword Hall Master's snow-white eyebrows twitched slightly. The way he looked at Yi Chunfeng changed greatly. The disciples of the Heavenly Fire sect behind him, as well as the people from the Wind Cloud Martial Mansion and the Thunder Mountain Martial Mansion, were also shocked. Even in the Heavenly Fire sect's Sword Hall, only one disciple had comprehended Sword Aura. That genius disciple had already broken through to the Heaven Beast immortal realm when he comprehended Sword Aura. The power of his Sword Aura was far inferior to Yi Chunfeng's. Yi Chunfeng, don't think that you can fight me just because you comprehended Sword Aura. Let me tell you, I can crush you as easily as crushing an ant. After being slapped in the face by Yi Chunfeng again and again, Yu Shanxian could no longer control the anger in his heart. His face became extremely gloomy. Is that so? Yi Chunfeng showed a disdainful smile and asked coldly. All right, all of you shut up. Looking at the two who were at daggers drawn, the leader of the Sword Hall was enraged. He yelled out, I don't care what kind of grudges you have, but you have to remember that your enemies are the genius disciples of the Storm Valley and the Thunderbird Mountain. If you dare to rebel against me again, I will take away your qualification to enter the true spirit realm, so that you won't become a joke to others. Looking at the Sword Hall Master who was glaring at them, Yi Chunfeng and Yu Shanxian did not dare to speak again. They stood aside in silence. All right, everyone rest here and wait for the true spirit secret realm to open. The Sword Hall Master glanced at Yi Chunfeng and Yu Shanxian with his sharp eyes and ordered coldly. Chunfeng, you are too reckless. I have already reminded you to be patient. Why didn't you listen? You are going against Yu Shanxian, giving him an excuse to get rid of you. Qian Daobai walked to Yi Chunfeng who was sitting far away and said helplessly, Palace Master, do you think it is useful for me to be patient? Yu Shanxian wants to deal with me. Even if I compromise, he will not let me go. Yi Chunfeng sat cross-legged on a piece of dry grass and said lightly, That's right. Instead of compromising, it is better to fight. I think junior brother Yi is right. Fu Yue, who was wearing a long black dress and looked like a dark elf, said, Sai, things are not as simple as you think. Do you know who the man wearing a long dark golden robe beside Yu Shanxian is? He is the elder of the Yin-Yang Hall, a level 5 heavenly beast immortal, Yu Mingzi. If something happens to Yu Shanxian in the true spirit secret realm, he can kill Chunfeng based on the conflict between Chunfeng and Yu Shanxian. Qian Daobai sighed softly. Yi Chunfeng knew that Qian Daobai was not exaggerating. If something happened to Yu Shanxian, he might be the target of the Yin-Yang Hall's revenge. However, he had no way out. If Yu Shanxian did not know what was good for him, Yi Chunfeng would not be merciful. Shanxian, who is that brat? Do you have a grudge with him? A Yin-Yang Hall disciple with a pointed face who looked similar to Yu Shanxian asked. Just a small fry. Yu Shanxian said gloomily. Do you need me to help you get rid of him? The pointy-faced man asked. No, I want to kill him myself. Yu Shanxian glanced at Yi Chunfeng who was meditating with his eyes closed. His eyes were filled with killing intent. Chirp chirp, when it was close to evening, several piercing bird chirps could be heard. 4 large golden birds cut through the dusk and quickly flew over. People from the Storm Valley. The Sword Hall Master glanced at the 4 large golden birds flying over quickly. He concealed the battle intent in his eyes and ignored them. Not long after the people from the Storm Valley arrived, more than 10 people from the Thunderbird Mountain also arrived at the Black Pool Swamp. They were stationed outside the entrance of the true spirit secret realm. The 3 sects seemed to have discussed it beforehand. They did not provoke each other and waited in silence for the secret realm to open. Just as everyone waited in silence for 2 days, endless red light suddenly shone from the red light that was getting thicker and thicker, illuminating the world. Slowly, a black hole appeared in the center of the red light. Chapter 126. The opportunity is right in front of you. Whether you can grasp it or not will depend on your abilities. If you can bring back a great opportunity from the true spirit realm within a month, the Skyfire sect will reward you handsomely. The Sword Hall Master raised his head to look at the spatial black hole in the red light and said in a deep voice, "We won't disappoint the Hall Master." The 10 6th grade Earth Beast Generals of the Skyfire sect promised in unison. You can go in now. Remember, no matter where you are teleported to, you must remain calm. Don't force yourself to obtain an opportunity that doesn't belong to you. Otherwise, you might lose your life. The Hall Master reminded them solemnly. Yes. As he spoke, the 10 genius disciples of the Storm Valley and the Thunderbird Mountain leaped into the air and flew into the spatial black hole. Let's go. Seeing the genius disciples of the two sects enter the true spirit secret realm first, Yushan Xian and the other disciples of the Heavenly Fire sect merged with their spiritual beasts and flew into the black hole like arrows leaving their bows. Qingfeng Yu Fu Xian, be careful. I will wait here for your safe return. Qian Daobai looked at the 3 disciples he was most proud of and instructed them. Don't worry, Martial House Master. We will definitely come out alive. Lin Fu Xian said generously. After speaking, Yi Chunfeng and the other 2 leaped into the air and flew into the spatial black hole together with the genius disciples of the Storm Martial House and the Thunder Mountain Martial House. When Yi Chunfeng was approaching the spatial black hole at an extremely fast speed, Yi Ku Xian, who appeared beside him, revealed a strange smile. He suddenly sent out a palm strike towards Yi Chunfeng's chest. Yi Chunfeng did not panic when he was attacked by the eldest disciple of the Thunder Mountain Martial House. Instead, he threw out a punch to meet the attack. When Yi Chunfeng's fist collided with Yi Kursen's palm light, a force of more than 50,000 kilograms exploded, shattering Yi Kursen's palm light as easily as crushing dry weeds and smashing rotten wood. Yi Chunfeng's fist landed on his palm. Yi Kursen didn't expect Yi Chunfeng's physical strength to be so terrifying. In a moment of carelessness, he lost control of his body as he soared into the air. Under the shocked gazes of the 2 Thunder Mountain Martial House heads, he fell to the ground. After sending Yi Chunfeng flying away with a punch, Yi Chunfeng took a deep breath and once again grew taller. He went through the black hole and entered the true spirit secret realm. What a dense forest! The white light in front of his eyes disappeared, and Yi Chunfeng found himself in a boundless, verdant mountain forest. The ancient trees here were all more than 30 meters tall. It would take more than 10 people to wrap their arms around them. Each ancient tree was more than 10,000 years old. Not far from him, there was a waterfall more than 1,000 meters high. It looked like the Milky Way was hanging upside down, pouring down from the sky. It was very spectacular. Is this true spirit realm really an ancient ruin? Looking at the ancient forest in front of him and the magnificent waterfall, Yi Chunfeng felt a sense of vicissitudes. He took out the coiling dragon greatsword and walked towards the nearby waterfall. Yes, that is the water spirit fruit. When Yi Chunfeng arrived at the foot of the 1,000-meter-tall waterfall, he was surprised to find a 3-inch-long aqua-blue blade of grass on the damp walls of the waterfall. In the center of the blade of grass, there was a deep blue fruit. Rays of fine, hair-like blue light shone from the fruit. The water spirit fruit was very rare in the outside world. It could not be bought without 50,000 low-grade spirit stones. Judging from the color of the water spirit fruit in front of him, this water spirit fruit was at least 5,000 years old. Its value was even higher than a normal spirit-level soul pellet. My luck is pretty good. I found a 5,000-year-old water spirit fruit the moment I was teleported into the true spirit secret realm. Yi Chunfeng smiled faintly as he bounced off the ground, intending to pick the water spirit fruit. However, as he approached the water spirit fruit in the air, his sharp senses suddenly sensed a strong sense of danger in the Milky Way like waterfall. Without even thinking, he stabbed out his sword instinctively. With a thrust of the sword, a huge purple snake with a brightly colored body, the thickness of a water bucket, and a huge lump of flesh on its head drilled out of the waterfall. It collided heavily with the coiling dragon greatsword. The powerful force forcefully knocked Yi Chunfeng down into the waterfall, preventing him from plucking the water spirit fruit. Rank 6 Spirit Beast. Sensing the power of the purple snake, Yi Chunfeng looked a bit serious. A rank 6 Spirit Beast was equivalent to a rank 6 Earth Beast General, and this purple snake in front of him was not simple at all. As it evolved, the sarcoma on its head would most likely turn into a horn. By then, this purple snake would turn into a flood dragon. The true spirit secret realm is full of opportunities, but it is not easy to get them. Without a certain level of power, even if you run into them, you will not be able to get them. Yi Chunfeng murmured to himself. His pupils shrunk as he looked at the purple snake. Waves of cold qi were emitted from his body. Without any outsiders around, Yi Chunfeng used his trump card, the profound frost spirit water, to deal with this purple snake in front of him without any hesitation. Profound frost spirit water, freeze! Yi Chunfeng shouted. A bone-chilling cold qi was emitted from his body and poured into the Milky Way like waterfall. In the blink of an eye, the waterfall was frozen into an ice waterfall, and the huge body of the purple snake was frozen as well. Killing sword art, flowing cloud pierce. The moment the purple snake was frozen by the ice waterfall, Yi Chunfeng suddenly waved his coiling dragon greatsword. An extremely fast spinning sword light was shot out and hacked at the purple snake's weak point. A huge amount of blood spurted out like a fountain. Hiss! With its weak point pierced, the purple snake screamed in pain. The explosive power in its body directly tore apart the ice waterfall. It opened its bloody mouth and bit towards Yi Chunfeng. The spirit beasts in the true spirit secret realm are indeed much more terrifying than those in the outside world. Yi Chunfeng saw that the purple snake's weak point had been pierced, but it was still able to explode with such an astonishing power. He was slightly surprised. Sword Force Second Layer. Wind Shadow Chop. The purple snake turned into a purple light and attacked. Yi Chunfeng's body immediately gushed out the second layer sword force, which merged with the coiling dragon greatsword. With a slash of the sword, a sword light pierced through the air and slashed at the purple snake's head. The disgusting sarcoma was split open, and its head was split in half. The 30-meter-long giant body fell heavily on the ground, creating a huge pit. After struggling for half an incense stick's worth of time, the purple snake finally died. After killing the purple snake with all his strength, Yi Chunfeng immediately took out his invincible broken sword and cut off the purple snake's tough skin that was covered with scales. He also cut off a few big pieces of the snake's flesh as rations. After that, he picked the water spirit fruit and quickly left. As Yi Chunfeng continued to go deeper into the forest, he was ambushed by dozens of powerful spirit beasts. Among them, he even met a level 8 spirit beast that was comparable to a level 3 heavenly beast immortal. He was so scared that he used his shape-shifting phantom and fled in panic. Too scary, this true spirit secret realm is too scary. There are even level 8 spirit beasts. I wonder if there are any heavenly beasts in the deepest part of this ancient forest. Recalling the scene where he was chased by the level 8 spirit beast, Yi Chunfeng still had lingering fear. He was even more in awe of the true spirit secret realm. About 3 days later, Yi Chunfeng found a broken body under a 5-meter-tall boulder. Beside the body, there was a fiery red war blade with a red gem embedded in the hilt. Upper-grade spirit weapon. Looking at the war blade in front of him, Yi Chunfeng's eyes lit up. Although he didn't use a blade, if he sold this fiery red war blade outside, he could get a lot of lower-grade soul crystals. This war blade is mine. If you don't want to die, then get the hell out of here. Just as Yi Chunfeng stepped forward and was about to put the fiery red war blade into his Qianquan bag, a cold voice came into his ears. Chapter 127. You're from the Fengyan Valley. When Yi Chunfeng saw the tattoo of a golden cloud on the left side of this youth's chest, he immediately recognized his identity. "I'll count to 3. If you don't scram, don't blame me for being ruthless." The white-clothed youth saw Yi Chunfeng's indifference and his face gradually turned cold. A strong murderous aura was emitted from his body. "No need to count. Make your move." Although the Fengyan Valley was the absolute overlord of the North Snow region and their disciples were the best in the region, Yi Chunfeng was not afraid of him and spoke in a domineering manner. "Interesting. I didn't expect that a small martial house disciple like you would dare to go against me." The white-clothed youth was so angry that he laughed. "I hope you can clean your eyes in your next life. There are some people you can't afford to offend." As he spoke, the white-clothed youth fused with the power of his spiritual beast. The snakeskin sword in his hand emitted an ear-piercing sound, and a dazzling white light flashed. The white-clothed youth's sword light pierced towards Yi Chunfeng's throat at a speed that was hard to see with the naked eye. 130,000 jin of strength explode. Yi Chunfeng immediately circulated his 6 meridians divine shield and fused his physical strength and soul power together. He erupted with extreme strength and met the attack with his sword. Chi! The white-clothed youngster's sword light was broken apart by Yi Chunfeng's powerful sword strike. The coiling dragon heavy sword, which was filled with 130,000 jin of force, stabbed onto the tip of the snakeskin long sword. The powerful force forcefully bent the sword, causing the white-clothed youngster's arm to feel numb. Streams of blood flowed out from the cracked skin on his arm. And what a powerful force! The white-clothed youth didn't put Yi Chunfeng in his eyes at first, so he didn't use his full strength. Only after the exchange did he realize how terrifying Yi Chunfeng was. Flowing cloud pierce. After gaining the upper hand, Yi Chunfeng immediately used the annihilation sword art. The interweaving sword light tore through the air and pierced towards the white-clothed youth's chest. Wind and Cloud 9 swords. Feeling that Yi Chunfeng was more difficult to deal with than he imagined, the white-clothed youth decisively used his soul skill to counterattack. A sharp sword light like a silver dragon slashed at the flowing cloud pierce. Boom! When the two soul skills collided, a powerful shockwave was created, and the ancient trees around them were reduced to dust. Cracks also appeared on the ground beneath their feet. Storm Valley's disciples are indeed not simple. That sword strike just now was probably a high-ranked, earth-ranked soul skill. When Yi Chunfeng saw that the white-clothed youth was able to block the flowing cloud spike in such a hurry, he was shocked by the background of Storm Valley. A light flashed beneath his feet, and he turned into 3 afterimages as he continued to attack. Wind and Cloud Spirit Steps. Yi Chunfeng quickly attacked. The white-clothed youth immediately used a strange footwork, shifting and shifting in the narrow space as he fought against Yi Chunfeng. Ding ding dang dang dang. A large amount of sparks flew in all directions as the two of them clashed again and again. In the blink of an eye, the two of them had already clashed more than 10 times. The concentrated attacks were dazzling. 9 swords of wind and cloud, 1 sword moved the wind and cloud. After exchanging hundreds of moves with Yi Chunfeng, not only was the white-clothed youth unable to suppress Yi Chunfeng, his arm was also numb from the powerful coiling dragon greatsword. After experiencing Yi Chunfeng's strength, the white-clothed youth immediately changed his move. The tip of his foot suddenly touched the ground, and his body flew into the air. He slashed out with his sword in midair, stirring up the wind and clouds. It was as if a flood dragon had descended into the world, and he fiercely slashed towards Yi Chunfeng. Sword Force Second Layer. When the silver-white sword light attacked, Yi Chunfeng's sword force gushed out from his body. It fused with the strength of 150,000 kilograms and poured into the coiling dragon greatsword, heavily slashing at the dragon-like sword light. Boom! When the two powerful forces collided, they once again stirred up 1,000 ripples. The powerful force bombarded Yi Chunfeng and the white-clothed youth, causing them to retreat at the same time. However, Yi Chunfeng only retreated 3 steps, while the white-clothed youth retreated 5 steps. It was clear that Yi Chunfeng's attack power was above his. Sword force, what you used just now was sword force. The white-clothed youth's expression greatly changed. He didn't dare to imagine that Yi Chunfeng, who was a level 4 Earth Beast General, had actually comprehended the sword force that he yearned for even in his dreams. Congratulations, you got it right. The corner of Yi Chunfeng's mouth slightly curved up. He used form displacement phantom and rushed towards the white-clothed youth. Profound frost spirit water, ice seal. When approaching the white-clothed youth, Yi Chunfeng used the power of the profound frost spirit water, releasing a powerful cold air to seal the white-clothed youth. Crack! Caught off guard, the white-clothed youth's body was covered in a thick layer of frost, continuously freezing his body. With Yi Chunfeng's current strength, he was still unable to use the profound frost spirit water's strongest power. However, with the white-clothed youth's strength, he still couldn't resist the power of the profound frost spirit water. In a blink of an eye, his body was frozen by the profound frost spirit water. Collapsing cloud palm. After using the power of the profound frost spirit water to freeze the white-clothed youth, Yi Chunfeng immediately sent out a palm strike towards the ice sculpture. 3 palm strikes filled with the power of the collapsing cloud palm broke through the ice seal and bombarded the white-clothed youth's body. Buzz! Just as the white-clothed youth was about to be killed by Yi Chunfeng's palm strike, a white halo suddenly shot out from his body and blocked the attack of the collapsing cloud palm. PFFF! PFFF! With the help of the amulet given by the Storm Valley, the white-clothed youth managed to escape the calamity. However, he was still heavily injured by Yi Chunfeng's palm strike. A large amount of blood sprayed out from his mouth. Brat, I will remember you. The next time I see you, I will definitely take your dog life. There was only one amulet. Without it, the white-clothed youth no longer had any means to save his life. He wanted to leave after leaving behind a vicious sentence. There won't be a next time. Yi Chunfeng used form displacement phantom and caught up with the heavily injured white-clothed youth. Once again, he used the power of the profound frost spirit water to freeze the white-clothed youth's body. Storm 9 swords, storm cleaving the 9 provinces. This time, the white-clothed youth was prepared. The moment his body was frozen, he ignored the damage to his body and forcefully used the most powerful killing move of the Storm 9 sword. The Storm 9 swords was a high-grade Earth-rank soul skill of the Storm Valley. It was extremely powerful. The storm cleaving the 9 provinces was the most powerful killing move of the Storm 9 swords. Its power was comparable to a top-grade Earth-rank soul skill's all-out attack. Facing such a terrifying sword attack, Yi Chunfeng did not retreat. Instead, he used all his strength to meet the attack. Annihilation Sword Art, Wind Shadow Slash. Yi Chunfeng shouted. Second layer Sword Force, 130,000 gene of strength, and the power of the profound frost spirit water were all poured into the coiling dragon greatsword. With a slash of the sword, the air was completely turbulent. The powerful sword light directly split the white-clothed youth's storm cleaving the 9 provinces and slashed his body. Like cutting tofu, it broke the beast's soul armor on his body and split his body into 2 halves. In the next moment, Yi Chunfeng appeared behind him. At the moment when the spiritual beast in his head dissipated, Yi Chunfeng used the soul-devouring art to devour the spiritual beast in his head and end his life. Chapter 128. How could the disciples of Storm Valley be so poor? In a secluded valley in the depths of the ancient forest, Yi Chunfeng took out the Qiankuan bag that he had plundered from the white-robed youth. When he broke the seal of the Qiankuan bag, he revealed a disappointed expression. 2 soul recovery pills, 100 mid-grade soul crystals, 3,000 low-grade soul crystals, and a 10,000-year-old blood ginseng king. Other than that, there was nothing else. And the 10,000-year-old blood ginseng king in his Qiankuan bag should have been obtained from the true spirit realm. It seems that the Storm Valley was afraid that their disciples would die in the secret realm, so they only allowed them to bring life-saving items. However, the amulets that the Storm Valley gave them are not cheap. After about an hour, Yi Chunfeng had completely recovered his soul power and injuries. He left the secluded valley and continued to move into the depths of the ancient forest. Yi Chunfeng shuttled through the ancient forest for about 8 days. Although he didn't gain anything special, he gradually comprehended the extermination sword art's third move, instant kill, from the fierce battles with the powerful spirit beasts in the forest every day. Instant kill sword art. Yi Chunfeng's pupils shrank. His entire body had merged with the coiling dragon heavy sword. In an instant, an extremely thin sword light was formed, piercing out 100 meters. The sword beam had been condensed to the pinnacle. It was more than 5 meters tall. It was a 6th-grade spirit beast. It had exposed its sharp fangs. It had been cleaved into 2 halves. A large amount of blood splashed out like a fountain, and dyed the mountain forest red. The power of this instant kill sword art is indeed terrifying. However, the consumption is a bit high. Using this sword art has almost used up 1/3 of my soul power. I wonder if using this sword art can instantly kill a level 6 beast general. Yi Chunfeng was very satisfied with the power of this instant kill sword art. After mastering this move, he was confident that he could kill Yushan Xian under his sword. What's that sound? As Yi Chunfeng was moving through the forest, he passed by a secluded valley. Suddenly, he heard a terrified scream coming from the valley. He immediately stopped. What's in this valley? In the true spirit realm, opportunities and dangers coexisted. The more dangerous a place was, the more likely it was to be accompanied by a great opportunity. What's that? When Yi Chunfeng retracted his aura and slowly approached the end of the call, he saw a strange tree that was more than 10 meters tall. It was completely black, and its trunk was covered with sharp poisonous thorns. And in the center of this strange tree, there were 2 basin-sized fruits that looked like ghost heads. One of the ghost head fruits emitted a hair-raising wailing sound, while the other opened its bloody maw and bit at the corpse of a martial artist. Could this be the ghost withered tree and the ghost face weeping heart fruit? Looking at the strange tree in front of him and the 2 strange ghost face fruits, Yi Chunfeng immediately remembered that there was an extremely intelligent and ferocious strange tree called the ghost withered tree. The ghost withered tree was extremely cruel and liked to suck people's souls. And the fruit that it had grown for 10,000 years was called the ghost face crying heart fruit. It was even more brutal, and liked to eat people's flesh and blood. However, the ghost face crying heart fruit was indeed a top-grade spirit item in the world. It had a miraculous effect on body refinement, and its value was even higher than normal Earth-level soul pellet. I never thought that the true spirit realm would have such a miraculous item. If I can get those 2 ghost face crying heart fruits, I might be able to reach the completion of the muscle refining realm. But judging from the color of this ghost withered tree, it should be at least 50,000 years old. Its power should be far beyond mine. Looking at the horrifying ghost withered tree not far away, Yi Chunfeng was a bit hesitant as to whether he should take the risk and get the 2 ghost face crying heart fruits that were even more valuable than Earth-level soul pellet. However, the 2 ghost face crying heart fruits were too tempting for Yi Chunfeng. Adding on the fact that the profound cold spirit water could slightly suppress the ghost withered tree, after hesitating for a while, Yi Chunfeng decided to take the risk. Form-shifting phantom. Yi Chunfeng took a deep breath as his entire body suddenly sped up, leaving behind afterimages as he quickly approached the ghost withered tree. After battling for more than 10 days in the true spirit realm, Yi Chunfeng's control of the shadow power had deepened by another level. He could now instantly form 4 afterimages and increase his speed by 4 times. As Yi Chunfeng approached, one of the ghost face crying heart fruits immediately let out a shrill cry, disturbing Yi Chunfeng's mind. In the next second, Yi Chunfeng felt the ground under his feet start to shake. Many arm-thick black roots broke through the hard ground and pierced towards Yi Chunfeng's body like steel spears. Sword form second sky break. With the help of the God-eating brain, Yi Chunfeng dispelled the ghost face crying heart fruit's disturbing effect on his mind. A shocking sword aura was released from his body as it merged with the coiling dragon heavy sword. He then threw out a sword attack towards those black root. 130,000 pounds of power combined with the destructive power of the second sky of the sword aura had shattered the black roots like they were nothing, and it continued to approach the ghost withered tree. Lowly human, go die. A huge amount of black roots were shattered, and an old face appeared on the huge trunk of the ghost withered tree, speaking human language and roaring in anger. The pitch-black treetop shook violently. A large amount of black light that looked like black blades shot out, bombarding Yi Chunfeng from a short distance away. Instant kill sword attack. At the critical moment, Yi Chunfeng's entire body fused with the coiling dragon greatsword in his hand, turning into a silvery white sword shadow. It overflowed with a fierce sword aura, tearing apart the black light that covered the sky and approached the two crying ghost fruits that were emitting a ghostly cry. Profound cold spirit water, freeze. Without waiting for the two ghost face crying heart fruits to attack, Yi Chunfeng released the power of the profound cold spirit water, forcefully freezing the two ghost face crying heart fruits that were about to attack. Wind shadow slash. Then Yi Chunfeng suddenly took a deep breath. Second sky of the sword form, 130,000 pounds of power once again merged into the coiling dragon heavy sword, and fiercely chopped down on the two ghost face crying heart fruits that were frozen by the profound cold spirit water. Kacha! A huge amount of ice was shattered by the half-moon sword shadow, and the sharp sword light cut down the two ghost face crying heart fruits, causing a huge amount of blood-like liquid to splash out. Profound cold spirit water, freeze. After successfully cutting down the two ghost face crying heart fruits, Yi Chunfeng immediately used the power of the profound cold spirit water to forcefully freeze the two ghost face crying heart fruits, and put them into his Qiankuan bag. Ah, lowly human, I'm going to kill you. The two ghost face crying heart fruits that had been condensed for tens of thousands of years were forcefully taken away by Yi Chunfeng, and this completely enraged the ghost withered tree. An extremely powerful roar was released from the old face, and like thunder from the 9 heavens, it attacked Yi Chunfeng's body. Pooh! After being attacked by the ghost withered tree's sound wave attack, Yi Chunfeng's soul shook, and a huge amount of blood flowed out from his 7 orifices. If his brain had not merged with the God-Eater brain, and his soul's defense was beyond superhuman, the sound wave released by the ghost withered tree would have been enough to shatter his soul. Pung! Yi Chunfeng, who had lost control of his body, heavily smashed onto the ground. Then, his body exploded with a huge amount of power, and he bounced up from the ground, escaping towards the entrance of the valley. Lowly human, leave your life behind. Chapter 129. What's that sound? What's in the valley ahead? While Yi Chunfeng was fighting with the ghost withered tree, the loud noise spread out for dozens of miles and was heard by 2 genius disciples who were passing by. Cursin, are you interested in going to the valley with me to have a look? A tall and burly man in a dark blue robe asked with interest. His long black hair casually draped over his shoulders, giving off an unrestrained feeling. Haha, why not? Brother Gaofei, let's go. Yi Cursin, who was wearing a dark red robe and full of killing intent, laughed and followed the genius disciple of the Thunderbird Mountain, Yun Gaofei, towards the valley where Yi Chunfeng was. Ghost withered tree. Yi Cursin and Yun Gaofei, who were both skilled and bold, ran into the trembling valley. They immediately saw the ghost withered tree with a shaking black crown and an ancient face that was crazily attacking it. This ghost withered tree is as black as ink and has a ghost face on it. It's probably more than 50,000 years old. Such an old ghost withered tree must have produced a ghost face crying heart fruit. Thinking of this, Yi Cursin and Yun Gaofei both looked at the twisted root prison with burning desire in their eyes. If they could obtain the ghost face crying heartfruit, it would be very beneficial for them. Yi Kursin was even more confident that he could use the power of the ghost face crying heartfruit to continuously increase his cultivation level and mutate his spirit beast to reach the heavenly beast immortal realm. At this moment, Yi Chunfeng, who was trapped in the twisted root prison, was covered in wounds and blood. If his body was not strong enough, he would not have been able to withstand the powerful attacks of the ghost withered tree. Black cold spirit water, freeze. Yi Chunfeng, who had consumed a lot of energy, threw a soul recovery pill into his mouth and used the black cold spirit water to forcefully freeze the roots that had been broken by the coiling dragon heavy sword. In the next moment, the second heaven of sword form, 150,000 pounds of force, and a strand of black cold spirit water all poured out of Yi Chunfeng's body and merged into the coiling dragon heavy sword, activating the 9 attack patterns at the same time. Instant kill sword. Yi Chunfeng's entire body fused together with the coiling dragon heavy sword, transforming into an extremely thin white sword beam. Carrying an astonishing destructive power, the sword broke through the hole that was frozen by the profound cold spirit water and charged out. It's him. Yi Kursin, who was waiting outside, immediately recognized Yi Chunfeng, who had broken out of the core prison. Thinking of the humiliation that Yi Chunfeng had brought to him when he entered the true spirit secret realm, Yi Kursin's eyes shot out thick murderous intent. Violet Thunder Sword Technique. Yi Chunfeng leaped into the air amidst the rubble. Thunderous sounds rang out from his body as he slashed out with his sword. A sword light entwined with purple lightning tore through the sky, heading straight for Yi Chunfeng. Phantom Shift. Yi Chunfeng's soul power was extremely sharp. The moment he broke out of the prison formed by the ghost withered tree's roots, he had already sensed the existence of the two. Therefore, the moment Yi Chunfeng launched his sneak attack, he performed the phantom shift and instantly turned into 4 afterimages, dodging the attack 3 times in a row. He dodged Yi Kursin's Violet Thunder Sword technique and dashed out of the valley at an extremely fast speed. Where do you think you're going? Seeing that Yi Chunfeng was trying to escape, the rank 6 Earth Beast General Yun Gaofei roared as he pulled out the huge blade on his back and slashed towards Yi Chunfeng, wanting to stop him. Compared to the two, the crazy ghost withered tree posed a bigger threat to Yi Chunfeng. Seeing the blade light in front of him trying to stop him, Yi Chunfeng did not try to dodge. Instead, he exploded with his strongest power and slashed out with the coiling dragon heavy sword. Boom! Yun Gaofei's blade light was shattered by Yi Chunfeng's sword. Yi Chunfeng performed the phantom shift and dashed out of the two's encirclement at an extremely fast speed, disappearing into the chaotic valley in the blink of an eye. Not good! After Yi Chunfeng broke through the encirclement with his absolute strength, Yi Kursin and Yun Gaofei were immediately attacked by the berserk ghost withered tree root. Sensing how terrifying the ghost withered tree roots were, Yun Gaofei immediately took out a purple crystal from his Qiankuan bag and quickly threw it out. Rumble! The purple crystal shattered, and a large amount of lightning exploded, bringing with it a deafening roar of thunder. In an instant, it shattered hundreds of roots as thick as a child's arm, and followed Yi Chunfeng out of the kernel. Yi Chunfeng, leave the ghost face crying heart fruit and I will spare your dog life. Lightning flashed under Yi Kursin's feet as he looked at Yi Chunfeng, who was running wildly in the forest, and ordered loudly. If you want the ghost face crying heart fruit, then you can take it with your lives. Yi Chunfeng, who was riddled with wounds, didn't pay any attention to Yi Kursin and Yi Qingyu. He swallowed another soul recovery pill and quickly replenished the soul power in his body. At the same time, he used the complicated terrain to escape from the two's pursuit. There's no way out. Yi Chunfeng ran wildly for the time it took for a stick of incense to burn. Suddenly, he discovered that a bottomless abyss appeared in front of him, blocking his path. Let's see where you can run to this time. Yi Kursin and Yun Gaofei, who were chasing after Yi Chunfeng, revealed cruel smiles when they saw that he was blocked by the abyss. They released powerful auras and locked onto him. Since there's no way out, then let's fight. The injured Yi Chunfeng swallowed a third soul-returning pill and grasped the coiling dragon heavy sword in his hand. His pupils constricted as he watched the two approaching step by step. After swallowing 3 soul-returning pills, Yi Chunfeng's soul power, which was almost depleted, had recovered by half. He could use the instant kill sword once. However, Yi Chunfeng wasn't sure if the two of them had protective talismans on them. His eyes flickered as he looked at the two of them, constantly thinking of who to attack. Yi Chunfeng, I can't help but admire your luck. You actually obtained the ghost face crying heart fruit in the true spirit secret realm. However, your good luck ends here today. We'll personally send you to the Yellow Springs. Yi Curson said with cold killing intent. There are many people who want my life, but it's a pity that I sent all of them to hell. Yi Chunfeng laughed coldly. He sped up the recovery of his soul power while giving tit for tat. You're just a Class 4 earthly beast general trash. How dare you threaten us? Yun Gaofei didn't put Yi Chunfeng in his eyes at all and sneered. Yun Gaofei had just finished speaking when a suffocating sword aura gushed out from Yi Chunfeng's body. It rushed into the clouds and shattered their auras. Sword aura. Feeling the sword aura gushing out from Yi Chunfeng's body, Yun Gaofei's expression changed greatly. He didn't think that Yi Chunfeng, who was only a Class 4 earthly beast general, would be able to comprehend the sword aura that swordsmen yearned for even in their dreams. Shape-shifting phantom. While Yun Gaofei was still in shock, Yi Chunfeng's body moved. In an instant, he created 4 afterimages. Like a bolt of lightning, he attacked Yi Curson. Good timing. Yi Curson had already expected Yi Chunfeng to attack him first. His pupils shrank. The silver sword in his hand drew out a purple lightning light, bringing with it a powerful destructive force as it met Yi Chunfeng's attack. The moment Yi Curson attacked, Yun Gaofei also attacked. A terrifying blade light swept through the air and slashed towards Yi Chunfeng. Instant kill sword. Just as Yi Curson and Yun Feiyun's thunderous attacks were about to hit Yi Chunfeng's body, Yi Chunfeng, who was moving at high speed, suddenly accelerated. His entire body turned into an extremely thin sword light that tore through the air and pierced through Yi Curson and Yun Feiyun's soul skills, stabbing towards the careless Yun Gaofei. At this critical moment, the protective talisman that Yun Gaofei had refined into his body projected a defensive halo. It blocked Yi Chunfeng's instant kill sword. However, the instant kill sword's attack was too terrifying. The defensive halo formed by the protective talisman was still cracked by the instant kill sword. The sharp sword light pierced through the halo and stabbed Yun Gaofei's body. Yun Gaofei didn't expect Yi Chunfeng to be so terrifying. When he thought back to the feeling of life and death, 2 of his 3 souls were scared out of his wits. He desperately tried to escape. Profound frost spiritual water, freeze. Yi Chunfeng didn't give Yun Gaofei a chance to escape. He used the power of the profound frost spiritual water to freeze his body. Cloud-crushing palm break. Chapter 130. Yi Chunfeng, you actually dared to kill him. Yi Curson looked at Yun Gaofei's shattered corpse and felt that it was unreal. He could not believe that Yun Gaofei, who was a Class 6 Earth Beast General, would be instantly killed by Yi Chunfeng, who was a Class 4 Earth Beast General. Yi Curson, it's your turn next. Yi Chunfeng raised his coiling dragon greatsword up high and pointed it at Yi Curson, who had an ugly expression. He released an aura of disdain as he spoke in an overbearing manner. Although Yi Chunfeng had intimidated Yi Curson in terms of aura, his body's condition was not good. After forcefully using the instant kill and killing Yun Gaofei with the cloud-crushing palm, Yi Chunfeng did not have much soul power left in his body. He was definitely not Yi Curson's match. However, he did not dare to let Yi Curson see through his intentions. He could only use the aura of killing Yun Gaofei to intimidate Yi Curson and pray that he would back off. Otherwise, he would only have one option: to jump off the cliff. When he met Yi Chunfeng's eyes that were as sharp as swords and felt his aura of disdain, Yi Curson indeed had thoughts of retreating. However, Yi Curson was very smart. Although he had thoughts of retreating, he did not retreat immediately. Instead, he stood 10 meters away and observed Yi Chunfeng in silence. Seeing Yi Curson's action, Yi Chunfeng's heart could not help but sink. If he continued to remain in a deadlock, Yi Curson would definitely see through his intentions. As expected, when Yi Curson saw that Yi Chunfeng did not take the initiative to attack him, he sensed that something was wrong. The corner of his mouth rose slightly and a trace of coldness appeared as he said, "It seems like my guess was not wrong. After killing Yun Gaofei, you are already an arrow at the end of its flight." As he spoke, the silver longsword in Yi Curson's hand trembled. 6 sharp sword rays pierced towards Yi Chunfeng at an extremely fast speed, testing whether he was faking it or not. Second heaven's sword form break. Yi Chunfeng took a deep breath, and the second layer of sword force gushed out, surging into the coiling dragon greatsword. He slashed forward, and the powerful sword light broke through Yi Curson's probing attack. Pooh! However, at this moment Yi Chunfeng was too weak. After breaking through the 6 sword beams, he was also injured. A stream of blood flowed out from the corner of his mouth. "Yi Chunfeng, you can die now." Seeing the blood flowing out of Yi Chunfeng's mouth, Yi Curson calmed down. He held his silver sword and attacked Yi Chunfeng, wanting to kill him quickly and take everything he had. "You want to kill me? Try again in your next life." At the critical moment, Yi Chunfeng clenched his teeth and exerted force in his legs. Under Yi Jixin's attack, he brushed against the cliff and jumped into the bottomless abyss. Soon, he was swallowed by the thick clouds. Damn it! When Yi Curson saw Yi Chunfeng suddenly jump off the cliff, he was so angry that his face turned ashen. He immediately came to the edge of the cliff. However, he hesitated and did not dare to jump off to chase after Yi Chunfeng. In the biting cold wind, Yi Chunfeng, who had lost control of his body, rapidly plummeted. In order to reduce the speed of his descent, Yi Chunfeng clenched his teeth and constantly erupted with astonishing strength. He stabbed the coiling dragon épée sword into the hard cliff, igniting large amounts of sparks and forcibly slowing down the speed of his descent. However, the abyss Yi Chunfeng had jumped into was so deep that he could not see the bottom. After falling for 2 incense sticks of time, he still had not reached the bottom. At this moment, Yi Chunfeng's arms had long since gone numb. Large amounts of blood flowed out from his cracked skin. Cracks also appeared on the surface of the coiling dragon épée sword that was constantly rubbing against the cliff. If not for the fact that Yi Chunfeng had cultivated his 6 meridians divine shield to the 3rd layer, his physical strength reaching 130,000 jin, his arms would have been broken long ago. The flow of air has reversed. I'm finally at the bottom. Just as Yi Chunfeng, whose arms were severely injured, was about to lose his grip on the violently vibrating coiling dragon épée sword, he suddenly felt the flow of air beneath him reverse. He knew that he was finally at the bottom of the cliff. Pung! Yi Chunfeng's uncontrollable body smashed heavily into the damp bottom of the cliff, creating a large crater in the ground. Although he had been using the coiling dragon épée sword to constantly reduce the speed of his fall, it was still not a light fall. More than half of his bones were broken, and his organs were severely injured. He fell into a coma. Fortunately, Yi Chunfeng's physical body was sufficiently strong. His recovery speed was dozens of times that of an ordinary person. Coupled with the automatic circulation of the soul-devouring art, Yi Chunfeng's body was recovering from his injuries. About 3 days later, Yi Chunfeng, whose injuries had mostly recovered, woke up from his coma. Phew, I'm still alive. That's great. Feeling the soreness in his body, Yi Chunfeng, whose lips were broken, revealed a smile. He forced himself to sit up and looked around. There are so many skeletons. Why are there so many skeletons here? When Yi Chunfeng saw his surroundings clearly, he discovered that at the bottom of the dark and damp abyss, there were piles of white bones. Among them, there were many large and terrifying beast skeletons. Could there be some unknown danger at the bottom of this cliff? Looking at the large pile of skeletons in the distance, Yi Chunfeng immediately became nervous. With his current physical condition, he was unable to use his peak strength to deal with any dangers that could appear at any time. But this strange bottom of the cliff was very enclosed, making it even more difficult to leave. Helpless, Yi Chunfeng could only take out 2 soul-returning pills and throw them into his mouth to quickly heal his injuries. Because Yi Chunfeng's injuries were too severe, he had to spend 3 full days to fully recover to his peak condition. Fortunately, Yi Chunfeng did not encounter any danger in these 3 days. This allowed him to breathe a sigh of relief. He decided to take the risk and explore this strange bottom of the cliff to find a way out. But as he went deeper, Yi Chunfeng discovered that there were more and more skeletons at the bottom of the cliff. However, these skeletons had been there for many years. With a light touch of his foot, they immediately weathered away. A stone tablet. Why is there a black stone tablet at the bottom of the cliff? As he walked, Yi Chunfeng suddenly discovered that not far in front of him, there was a mysterious stone tablet that was nearly 5 meters tall. It was completely black, and its surface was as smooth as a mirror. On the stone tablet, there were 12 boundless and vigorous blood-red words written in a flamboyant style. The sword points to the heavens. Blood stains the earth. Battle the heavens. Destroy the heavens. What bold strokes! What an arrogant tone! What kind of great figure left this behind, to actually threaten to destroy the heavens? Looking at the 12 domineering words on the mysterious stone tablet, Yi Chunfeng was deeply shocked. Deep in his heart, he had an impulse to worship it. This power. Sword force. How can these 12 blood-red words contain the power of sword force? Suddenly, Yi Chunfeng discovered that within these 12 vigorous blood-red words, there was an intense sword force concept that stimulated the sword force within his body to uncontrollably surge out. When the sword force within Yi Chunfeng's body and the sword force contained within the 12 vigorous blood-red words intertwined, a devouring black hole suddenly appeared within the black stone tablet, swallowing Yi Chunfeng, whose expression changed greatly. In the next moment, Yi Chunfeng was surprised to discover that he had appeared in an ancient hall that was engraved with ancient totems. The black stone tablet that he had seen outside stood in the center of the hall. Chapter 131. It has been 101,000 years. Finally, someone has found this sword steel. The blood-red light spirit's hollow eyes shot out rays of bloody light as it looked at Yi Chunfeng, who was staring at it as if it was facing a great enemy. Yi Chunfeng looked at the blood-red light spirit with caution as beads of sweat appeared on his forehead. Although the blood-red light spirit was far away from him, he could feel a strong sense of danger from it. He did not doubt that if the blood-red light spirit wanted to kill him, he would not be able to fight back at all. I am the tablet spirit and the owner of this stone palace. I am also your tester. The blood-red light spirit said in a deep voice. Junior, are you willing to accept my test? What test? Yi Chunfeng asked. Your test is this sword steel. However, if you fail, you may lose your life. The tablet spirit said slowly. However, if you can pass the sword steel's test, not only will I give you a reward, I will also send you to the inner palace to accept the test there. If you can pass the test, you will inherit the 3 most precious items in the true spirit secret realm. Senior, how difficult is the sword steel's test? Yi Chunfeng took a deep breath and asked. There are 10 great sword steels in the true spirit secret realm. Many talented juniors have found the sword steels, but unfortunately, until now, no one has passed the test of the sword steels, and all of them have lost their lives, said the steel spirit. No one has passed the sword steel's test, and they have all lost their lives. After knowing the difficulty of the sword steel's test, Yi Chunfeng took a deep breath and hesitated. Junior, if you are scared, I can send you out. However, you only have one chance. You can make your own choice. The tablet spirit looked at Yi Chunfeng, who was hesitating, and said softly, "The path of cultivation was to go against the heavens and seize one's life. Stepping on this path was a life and death struggle. If one could not train oneself in life and death situations, one would be eliminated sooner or later. Moreover, I have the God-Eater brain as my trump card." Thinking of this, Yi Chunfeng took a deep breath and said firmly, "Senior, I am willing to accept the sword steel's test." "Good, very good. Before the test, I will give you 3 days to comprehend the sword steel. After 3 days, I will send you into the sword steel. You can only leave the sword steel after you pass the test. But if you fail, you will stay in there forever." Jianbei nodded and said, "Thank you, Senior." Yi Chunfeng said as he looked at the sword steel that was more than 5 meters tall. It was completely black, and had a large number of patterns on its surface. "All right, you can comprehend it now. As for how much you can comprehend, that will depend on your talent and ability," the tablet spirit said. "Yes." Yi Chunfeng nodded and sat cross-legged under the sword steel. He quietly adjusted his breathing for a while, and combined the power of the God-Eater brain. He released his soul power into the sword steel and began to understand the sword force carved on the sword steel. He entered the void state so quickly? The tablet spirit, who was floating in the air, noticed that in just 2 breaths, Yi Chunfeng entered the void state without showing any signs of discomfort or strain. It revealed a surprised expression. "It seems like he really has a chance of passing the test." The tablet spirit, who had existed for God knows how many years, revealed a rare smile. It floated in the air in silence and patiently waited. After a day, a sharp sword force gushed out from Yi Chunfeng's body and stirred up the air in the stone hall. The terrifying sword force did not dissipate for a long time. "Not bad, not bad. He is only a grade 4 Earth Beast General and has comprehended the 3rd heaven of sword force. Furthermore, his cultivation foundation is abnormally solid. This young man's talent is indeed extraordinary. If he can improve further, he should be able to pass the sword steel's test," muttered the tablet spirit. "Damn it, where did that bastard Yi Chunfeng hide?" Yushan Xian, whose deep eyes were filled with a murderous aura and a ferocious expression, roared angrily with a bloody spear in his hand. In order to kill Yi Chunfeng, Yushan Xian had spent most of his time searching for Yi Chunfeng's whereabouts. However, to no avail. This made him very angry. And that figure? Just as the murderous Yushan Xian crossed a lush thicket and continued to search for Yi Chunfeng's whereabouts, he discovered a beautiful figure that resembled a dark elf flashing before his eyes not too far away. Fu Yue. Looking at the tall and graceful Fu Yue from afar, Yushan Xian's eyes immediately burned with desire. He quickened his pace and chased after her. A cold and moving beauty like Fu Yue completely aroused Yushan Xian's desire to conquer her. More importantly, Fu Yue and Yi Chunfeng both came from the Sky Fire Martial House. He might be able to find Yi Chunfeng through her. "Who is it?" Sensing a vague aura behind her, Fu Yue furrowed her brows. She tapped the ground with the tip of her foot, and her graceful body turned into an afterimage as she leaped onto an ancient tree that was more than 20 meters tall. She asked cautiously, "Don't be nervous, it's me." Yushan Xian looked at Fu Yue's cold and beautiful face and hot body. He walked out of the lush shrub and revealed a smile that he thought was very handsome. Yushan Xian. Looking at Yushan Xian's handsome face, Fu Yue frowned slightly. There was no expression on her cold and beautiful face. "Fu Yue, this true spirit realm is full of danger. I wonder if you are interested in being my companion?" Yushan Xian took the initiative to invite her. "Not interested." Fu Yue rejected coldly. Her body flashed slightly and she wanted to leave. "You are not interested, but I am very interested in you." Yushan Xian tapped the ground with the tip of his foot. His body turned into a series of afterimages and blocked Fu Yue. He said maliciously, "Fu Yue, if you are willing to be my woman, I can ask my grandfather to accept you as his last disciple. I can also provide you with unimaginable cultivation resources to help you break through to the heavenly beast immortal realm. Get lost." Hearing Yushan Xian's arrogant words, Fu Yue's face became extremely ugly. An invincible sword light was reflected from her body. She slashed at Yushan Xian. Sword force. Feeling that Fu Yue's sword was full of killing power, Yushan Xian's face changed drastically. He quickly blocked it with his purple cloud spear. Sky-breaking sword art, mountain and river break. At this time, Fu Yue slashed a second time. A shocking sword light that could break mountains and rivers traversed the void with amazing destructive power. It slashed at Yushan Xian's purple cloud spear that was above his head. Boom! A powerful explosive force rose. Yushan Xian, who was careless, was slashed by Fu Yue. The seventh move of the sky-breaking sword art, which was combined with two sword forces, made his blood boil. He kept retreating. A trace of blood flowed from the corner of his mouth. "Yushan Xian, I will not kill you this time. If you dare to offend me again, be careful of your dog head." 2 slashes injured Yushan Xian. Fu Yue glanced at him coldly and warned him without any courtesy. Chapter 132. 3 days have passed, now it's time for you to take the test. 3 days passed in the blink of an eye. Looking at Yi Chunfeng, who was sitting motionlessly under the sword steel like a statue, the tablet spirit woke him up. In the next moment, a soaring sword force gushed out from Yi Chunfeng's body, tearing the air apart. The crisscrossing sword force lingered in the air for a long time. Sword force level 4. In just 2 days, he has comprehended sword force level 3 and level 4 consecutively. This talent is too terrifying. The tablet spirit had been around for many years and had seen many geniuses, but it had never seen a monster like Yi Chunfeng. There was a ripple in its calm heart. Maybe he really has a chance to pass the ultimate test of the true spirit's secret realm and inherit the spirit tribe's inheritance. It's been 3 days, time flies. Yi Chunfeng reluctantly woke up from his state of enlightenment. In these 3 days, Yi Chunfeng had used the God-Eater brain to continuously deduce the profound sword force engraved on the sword steel. Finally, in the limited time, he had improved his sword force by another level, reaching sword force level 4. "Press your hand on the sword steel, I will help you activate the test," the tablet spirit said slowly, its tone much gentler. "Yes." Yi Chunfeng nodded, stood up from the ground, and pressed his right hand on the sword steel that was as smooth as a mirror. In the next moment, Yi Chunfeng felt that he had been brought into an independent space. A tall, cold-looking man in a black robe with dark patterns stood in front of him, holding an aquamarine light sword. What a terrifying murderous intent! Feeling the murderous intent from the black-robed man, Yi Chunfeng's pupils immediately shrank into the most dangerous pinhole shape. "Kill!" The black-robed man's turbid eyes suddenly shot out rays of light, and the deafening word "kill" resounded in the space, shaking Yi Chunfeng's eardrums slightly. In the next moment, Yi Chunfeng clearly saw the aquamarine long sword in the black-robed man's hand move, slashing towards him. The black sword light tore through the air at an unbelievable speed, slashing towards him. Sword force level 4. Feeling the terrifying power of the black-robed man's sword, Yi Chunfeng's sword force level 4 immediately gushed out from his body, gathering into a light sword that was more than 10 meters long, and met the attack. When the two sword lights intersected, they immediately stirred up ripples, cutting through the air and creating crisscrossing cracks. "Let's see how many swords you." After his attack was neutralized by Yi Chunfeng, the black-clothed man's eyes narrowed. He then slashed out 3 more times. The speed of each slash was faster than the speed of light, and the power of each slash was multiplied. Not good. Yi Chunfeng held onto the coiling dragon heavy sword. After forcefully blocking the black-robed man's 2 swords, he was unable to block the 3rd sword. The astonishing sword light slashed into his mind, and a crack immediately appeared on his soul. Large amounts of blood flowed out from his 7 orifices. If it wasn't for the fact that the black-robed man's attack only targeted the soul and not the physical body, the earlier sword attack would have slashed Yi Chunfeng's body into 2. God-engulfing brain repair. Yi Chunfeng endured the splitting headache and controlled the God-engulfing brain to forcefully repair his severely damaged soul. In about 2 breaths' time, Yi Chunfeng's soul was completely healed. Too strong. This black-robed man is too strong. How can I defeat him? After witnessing how terrifying the black-robed man was, Yi Chunfeng felt immense pressure. He felt that with his current strength, going head-on against the black-robed man was no different from courting death. Interesting. You're actually fine after taking one of my swords. I want to see how many of my swords you can block. Sensing that Yi Chunfeng's soul had recovered in an instant, the black-robed man's cold and arrogant face revealed a strange smile. Streams of sword chi gushed out from his body, sweeping across the world. Hundreds spirits sword slash. Hundreds of sword chi gushed out from his body. They were like meteors that streaked across the sky, dragging long sword chi as they attacked Yi Chunfeng. For a moment, Yi Chunfeng felt as if the world was spinning and the air was tumbling. It was as if the space before him was being torn apart. The destructive power in the sword light made him feel suffocated, and he could smell the scent of death. Facing the black-robed man's 100 spirits sword slash, Yi Chunfeng knew that he had no way out. He had to defend with all his strength. If he couldn't defend against the 100 spirits sword slash, his life would be in danger. Instant slash. Yi Chunfeng clenched his teeth. His entire body fused with the coiling dragon greatsword, turning into an extremely thin sword light. With a shocking sharpness, he rushed into the 100 sword lights. Sword force 5th layer heavens break. 130,000 gene of strength break. Profound frost spirit water break. In order to break through this move of the black-robed man, Yi Chunfeng used all his trump cards. He was like a lone boat in the sea, fiercely fighting in the storm, seeking for a chance of survival. Chi. Yi Chunfeng fought with all his might, but his soul was still injured by the black sword lights, and a large number of sword scars appeared. Although his soul was severely injured, Yi Chunfeng's battle intent was getting stronger and stronger. In this life-and-death struggle, Yi Chunfeng gradually entered a mysterious state. A vast sword force was like a stormy sea, tumbling and roaring in the black sword rain. Under the wave after wave of sword force attacks, the black-robed man's 100 spirits sword slash finally had an opening. Yi Chunfeng's body flashed and rushed out. To be able to defend against my 100 spirits sword slash, you are the first in 1,000 years. However, you are still far from being able to defeat me. The black-robed man looked at Yi Chunfeng, whose soul was severely injured, without a trace of emotion, and said softly, "Not necessarily." Although Yi Chunfeng's current situation wasn't good, his soul was constantly being attacked. This allowed the God-Eater brain to capture a trace of something mysterious and quickly deduce. Then let me see how you are going to defeat me. Annihilation. The black-robed man roared. A sword light filled with the power of annihilation tore through the heaven and earth. The sword light rushed into the clouds like a sea overturning the horizon. The sword light slashed towards Yi Chunfeng. Trajectory, yes, that's the trajectory. Every sword strike he sends out is fused into the same trajectory. Seeing that Yi Chunfeng's soul was about to be split open by the black-robed man's destructive sword strike, the God-Eater brain, which was rapidly deducing, captured the trajectory of this sword strike. Swish. Yi Chunfeng's body moved slightly, brushing past the black-robed man's sword and dodging to the side. Instant kill sword. In the next moment, Yi Chunfeng and the coiling dragon greatsword merged into one and stabbed out at extreme speed. The sharp sword light filled with 4 sword forces pierced through the black-robed man's chest and directly penetrated his body. You captured my attack trajectory." The black-robed man ignored the sword hole in his chest and widened his eyes. He looked at Yi Chunfeng in disbelief. He didn't dare to imagine that with Yi Chunfeng's strength, he could actually capture his attack trajectory in an instant. "Yes, I have already seen through Senior's attack trajectory. I wonder if Senior still intends to continue?" Yi Chunfeng nodded and asked. "If you can withstand my next sword strike, you will pass." The black-robed man's eyes shot out a gaze that was sharper than a sword. A sharp aura burst out from his body. In the blink of an eye, he merged into the trajectory of the attack. Chi! The sound of cloth being torn was suddenly heard. A sword light that looked like a spatial crack shot out. It tore through the space and slashed towards Yi Chunfeng with astonishing attack power. Instant kill sword. The black-robed man used his body to launch a fatal attack. Yi Chunfeng didn't dodge. Instead, he used instant kill to meet the attack. As the sword lights intersected, Yi Chunfeng used the power of the God-Eater brain to lock onto the trajectory of the attack. He avoided the black-robed man's shocking attack. However, the instant kill he unleashed had accurately pierced through the black-clothed man's head, piercing through it. Gotcha! A crisp, shattering sound was heard. The moment the black-robed man's head was pierced, a crack appeared on the surface of the sword's steel.